Welcome to Philadelphia, where we've got a gorgeous night for baseball. Temperature in the low 80s. And the fans filing in for Baseball Night in America. Interleague matchup between the Angels and the Phillies in a series that is loaded with superstar players. We've got first pitch of Game 2 coming right here on Fox. Hope you're having a great weekend. We welcome inside Joe Davis with the Hall of Famer John Smoltz. So the 22-29 start for the Phillies cost Joe Girardi his job. Rob Thompson, the bench coach, promoted yesterday to take over as interim manager. In first game, they reminded everybody why a lot of people still think this team can make a run. They scored 10 runs in the first game of this series.
Well, a lot of people think the glass is half empty. I still think it's half full. And if you have an extra playoff spot to get, this is the year, because Philadelphia's offense is really good. They haven't lived up to it consistently enough. We know about their defense. Defense hasn't been good. But I think this offense, top to bottom, can score a lot of runs. Their pitching is vastly improved. So why not think about chasing down the teams that are ahead of you currently in the wild card, although give that little hope to winning a division. I think the Phillies still are a playoff team, and they've got a lot to prove, and now with a new manager.
Got 2 home runs from that man there, Kyle Schwarber. They got 2 from Bryce Harper as well. So there's 10 runs and a 10-0 win over these Angels. And look, it would be awesome to see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in the postseason. And as recently as a few weeks ago, it looked like, okay, we're headed there. But the Angels have dropped 9 in a row, and Trout and Ohtani, if they're going to get there, got to be better than they've been lately.
Yeah, 2 of the best players on the universe on the same team, and they have a lot of responsibility offensively to carry this team. And this team, let's face it, was way ahead of the curve offensively early, hitting a lot of home runs, scoring a lot of runs. This game is cruel. It can stop in a heartbeat, and right now they're looking to try to find a way to shake hands. And if they're going to shake hands after tonight's game, it's going to be because these guys did something at the top of the lineup. It is very good. After about the 6th spot, it gets a little lean, so look for these stars to have bounce back, for the Angels to bounce back.
All right, we got the last 2 MVPs in this game. That man there and Shohei Ohtani, of course, Bryce Harper for the Phillies, and the best player maybe of all time, and Mike Trout, who's got 3 MVPs on his shelf. We've got first pitch, the Phillies and the Angels on Baseball Night in America, next on Fox.
From inside jokes.
Hey, look, it's Mike Napafanakis.
To insiders' perspectives.
I like over 5.5 strikeouts on Walker Buehler.
Your best bet is the pregame spread. Served up only on MLB Network.
I got the mic today. I got the mic.
You got the mic.
I got the mic today.
Mom, I'm sorry if you hear anything that is said tonight. I apologize. I love you. I haven't talked to you in a few days.
Lo tuyo es rolling, olvídate de los fly. Dame los fly a mí, lo tuyo es para abajo. Le voy a decir a la gente que me ponga el micrófono todos los días. Claro.
With a perfect day for baseball. In the early summer days here, temperatures in the low 80s, not even that humid. And the Phillies and the Angels ready to play the middle game of this 3-game series. Rob Thompson ready for the 2nd game of his managerial career. Best run differential in manager history. 10-0 win in his first game last night. For the longtime coach and the longtime bench coach. Zack Wheeler takes the ball for the Phillies. He is not the reason this team has had a disappointing year. He has been worth every dollar that they spent. Cy Young runner-up last year, and a bit of a slow start this season, John, after a spring where he didn't pitch a ton. but the pitcher of the month in May. He's 3-0 with a 140 over his last 6 games.
Yeah, he's really come in on his own, really combining this kind of repertoire. Really, he's changed his approach. Fastball, it has worked. He got away from the all analytic in. This is where you got to throw the ball, and he's in touch with his mechanics. The ball's going to jump on you. He's going to move it around, and he's an ace for the Philadelphia Phillies.
And he will face this Angels lineup from Joe Madden. Matt Duffy leads off. Taylor Ward pulled his hamstring last night. Not as bad as they had feared. He's actually available off of the bench, just not in the starting lineup. So it's Duffy that hits leadoff. Ohtani and Trout, the big stars in the middle. We touched on it. Their numbers down, especially lately. 4 for 28 and 4 for 35 during this 9-game losing streak for Ohtani and Trout. Walsh and our star last year, Max Stassi, had 2 hits last night. It's then Marsh, Renjifo, Lagares, and the defensive whiz Velasquez out of the 9 spot. And it is, of course, Mike Trout's return home. He's from Millville, about an hour from here. Umpiring crew for tonight's game, Alfonso Marquez, the crew chief, calling balls and strikes. So the Angels trying to snap this 9-game losing streak, which is their longest one since 2016. They've dropped 15 of their last 21. I mean, 1 month into the season, they had the 2nd best record in the American League. They were 10 games above 500. That hot start has buoyed them enough where they are still in a position to make their first run at the postseason in a long time. Off we go as Wheeler fires, and Duffy fires the first one foul. Down the line, strike 1.
Well, Matt Duffy, as you see there, not a lot of power, but he puts the ball in play and he tries to command the middle of the field. And so he's just trying to get some action on the bases for the boys to come up.
Yeah, he takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Prior to this 9-game losing streak, Angels had the #1 offense in the American League. They're close to 5 runs per game. Duffy sends this ball to right center, where Castellanos is over to catch it for the first out of the night.
Well, the wind is blowing out to right field, blowing in from left field. So balls that are up in the air, left-handers should have the advantage tonight. If they get the ball in the air and hook it down the right field line, that ball will go. Pitchers always know what the wind's doing. This will affect the breaking ball for right-handers. Unlike Wrigley Field, not too many parks where you go, okay, at Wrigley Field you pitch according to that wind, 100%.
It's amazing how what time you go in and play at Wrigley, as far as the calendar, can largely dictate what kind of day you're going to have. Ohtani takes a strike. Hey. The MVP a year ago, and he's had flashes of that form at the plate. That 46 home run 2021 season. Here he carves this one out on the left side of the infield. That's a tough play, and he makes it.
Maybe.
Bryson Stott was the lone man over there with Bohm on the right side in the shift. Ohtani's saying, take a look at that one. What do you think?
Ohtani flies, and he's going to feel that, you know, he beat the throw. And you don't always trust your players every time you got a replay, but they're definitely going to look at this one. I think I thought he beat it live. He's got those big strides, but it's close. The bounce and the ball in the glove with the runner hitting the bag is what the umpire is really trying to focus on.
Los Angeles is challenging the outcall at first base.
Yeah. Well, he is a marvel of a player, isn't he?
He really is. And, you know, we can get into it more during the game about trying to explain to the casual fan what he has to do on a daily basis. For things to be successful, one, in the big leagues, it's hard to do one thing. To do 2 things the way he has, he's never given an off day. Like, he might get a physical off day once in a while, but his mind has to consume either what the pitcher's doing to him at the plate or what he's doing to the hitter.
After the call is overturned, the runner is safe. Los Angeles will retain their challenge.
So that's an infield hit, and it brings up Millville, New Jersey native Mike Trout.
Number 27, Mike Trout.
Well, the second time that Trout has played here in Philadelphia. First time in 2014. They held a Millville night here at Citizens Bank Park, and 7,000 people made the trip up from Millville, decked out in their blue and their orange, and marching band played the anthem. The mayor threw out the first pitch. A bunch of people making the trip again here in his second time in Philly.
What you just saw right there, I don't think we're going to ever see again. And that's a big statement. I mean, players go through 0 for 19s, but Mike Trout usually doesn't.
Right.
And 0 for 19, his timing's off, talking to his manager. A lot of pop-ups, which you rarely see out of him in the middle of the infield. So not catching up to fastballs in this stretch.
You know, the only time he's had a longer 0 for streak in his career was 0 for 21 in 2018. As a pitcher, I mean, you see that and you're like, something's fishy here, right?
I'm the worst when it comes to that. Don't tell me someone's 0 for 21 when I'm facing them, because now I think they're due.
Especially when it's him.
Yeah. He's an on-base machine. His course of his career, at one point in his career, the longest he had gone without reaching a base was 3 games in a row. Now, I don't know what that's happened here in this last streak, but 3 games in a row. Think about that. So even if you're 0 for 21, he's walking, he's getting on base, and of course, the early Mike Trout could take a base anytime he wants, stealing it. But to your point, when you find a guy is in an 0 for 19, I want to find out why. And if he's missing fastballs or he's late, then I'm going to use a different strategy during this spell. I wouldn't do that constantly if I had to face him and I was in his, in his same division.
The 0-1 to him is a fastball over the inside corner. 0-2.
Great pitch. When a guy is a little bit late and the word gets around, you certainly want to tie him up as much as you can and see if he's lifting the ball. It just looks like again, I say this like it's a broken record, but everything in our sport, baseball, is timing related. And if your timing's off just a fraction, with all that's got to be right, it's hard to be successful. And it just feels like he's more upright. I don't know if he is, to the reality of, but and seems like he's lifting, trying to lift the ball a little bit more. Came out of the gates with tremendous power, and now he's in a little bit of a funk with the timing.
It's in an 0-2 hole against a good pitcher in Zack Wheeler, who deals a fastball taken high. "30 years old. He's been an All-Star 9 times. He's been an MVP 3 times. It's hard to believe, but Mike Trout is in his 12th major league season now." On a 1-2 from Zack Wheeler. Trout leaves it just up, and it evens 2-2.
See, Mike Trout will not swing above. You can get a strike call on the top of the zone and get a little lucky every once in a while, but he will expand the zone down because he loves the ball down. You leave one middle of the plate, any hitter's going to hit it, but his discipline at the top of the zone is really, really good. And so that room for error for a pitcher is really, really small.
Fell behind 0-2. He's worked it back 2-2, leaving a couple fastballs up. Now he fouls a high fastball. You're talking about coming home. Grew up a Phillies fan. Less than an hour drive away from here in Millville, New Jersey. Back in his Millville days, he was Mikey Trout. The neighborhood boy that made all the noise out in the driveway, picking up little rocks and hitting them with his aluminum bat early in the morning, hours before his Little League games. On another 2-2 from Wheeler, he's down in a high fastball.
And again, just a click off. That makes a pitcher feel better that you can challenge Mike Trout with a fastball almost center cut. It's his 18th strikeout in his last 15 games, which is again unusual.
First one of the night for Zack Wheeler. Led the National League in strikeouts last year when he was runner-up to Corbin Burns for Cy Young. 2 gone first inning. The hitter's Jared Walsh, 3rd consecutive All-Star in this lineup for the Angels. Now, while the 2 ahead of him, Ohtani and Trout, are like, well, yeah, of course, All-Stars. Walsh came out of the middle of nowhere to become that.
He sure did. He started off to his career in a really powerful way, if you will. He's got great power. Swing and miss a lot, like a lot of power hitters in the game, trying to tackle that velocity. But he's kind of the reason started pushing out Mr. Albert Hall of Famer Pujols because how successful he was when he got called up.
By the way, Albert played his 3,000th game today.
Wow. Incredible career.
Well, they're paying a lot of attention to Ohtani over there. Now comes home. Ball one on Walsh, who was the last pick of the 39th round of the draft. From that to a Major League All-Star. He had 4 years in the minors where he didn't do a whole lot, so little that the Angels left him unprotected in the Rule 5 draft, but nobody wanted him, so he fell back to the Angels and then beat the odds simply by making it to the majors. There goes Ohtani on a good pitch to run on, but the throw from Muto gets him. Boy, Muto has been awesome with that throwing arm, and he cuts down Ohtani to finish off this first inning.
What does shopping for contacts look like at Warby Parker? Well, just imagine your favorite brands, take away the hidden fees, and add free shipping. There you go. Save 15% on your first order of contacts at warbyparker.com. When it comes to contacts, Warby Parker offers dozens of brands, including Scout, our very own comfortable, breathable, and affordable daily lens. Learn more about Scout or save 15% on your first order of contacts at warbyparker.com.
Butcher Box. We deliver high-quality meat to your door. What happens next is up to you.
At Boll & Branch, we don't make bedding like everyone else. We make it better. We prioritize thread quality, not thread count. We source the finest 100% organic cotton to make the softest, most luxurious fabrics on earth. We're free from toxins, the way home should be. Boll & Branch is made different, so you can sleep better at night. Experience the difference at bollandbranch.com.
Scored 10 runs, banging out 5 home runs. That included one on the first pitch of the game from Kyle Schwarber, who's followed by Hoskins and Harper. And then Nick Castellanos out of the cleanup spot. Real Muto, the catcher, out of the 5 spot. Bohm is at third. Stott, Camargo, and Moniak rounding things out for the Phillies. Michael Lorenzen, who spent his first 7 seasons in Cincinnati, the last 6 of those as a reliever. He wanted a chance to start, and he wanted a chance to come pitch for the team that he grew up rooting for. Anaheim native, signed a 1-year contract with the Angels, and he's been fantastic. First pitch is hammered on the line to right. That is off the top of the wall. Into second goes Schwarber. Wow, first pitch again. Buckle up quickly.
Yeah, this is strength against strength tonight. Lorenzen's very good on first pitch opponent's batting average against. And the Philadelphia Phillies like to jump on the first pitch. You see a cutter that backed up, and this one just below the fence, or it would have been another leadoff home run for Schwarber. So I look for those strength on strength. He's owned right-handed hitters, has Lorenzen so far this year. A lot of fastballs inside, and currently I think he has the biggest biceps in the history of any pitcher that I've ever seen.
Bigger than yours?
Oh, way bigger.
Got you? You got Maddox?
Oh, it's Maddox and I together still isn't big enough.
So 1 pitch in, and the Phillies picking up where they left off last night with a lot of power. Ball 1 on Rhys Hoskins. 10 runs, 9 of the 10 runs coming off their 5 homers, and that is what people envisioned them doing when this roster was put together, and what the Phillies will have to do to cover up the deficiencies. Hoskins now on a line to center, but this one right at Trout for the first out of the game. Schwarber headed for third. Here's Trout's throw. It's offline. And Schwarber's 90 feet away.
Yeah, this Phillies team you could see them being like a softball superstar team, right? They just love to mash. They're not very fast, and their defense is much to be talked about. But I think they can make up a lot of that with their offense and put their defense at ease by scoring more runs, and their pitching staff is much better. So I'm not one to give up at all on the Philadelphia lackluster start. I think there's a lot of good left.
Well, that defense you're talking about, it was a flawed defensive roster coming in, but it's been further exposed by Bryce Harper's injury, which means he's only DHing. And that role has suited him beautifully.
How'd you like to be the infield drawn in on Harper or Trout? No, thank you.
Nope.
With the exit velocity that they can. And he has really started swinging at a lot of first pitches.
Homered on a first pitch last night. Leads the majors, John, with 6 home runs on the first pitch. We're talking about him as the DH. A couple things had to happen for him to really settle into this role. And Ken Rosenthal had a great article on The Athletic about it. But he had to come up with a better routine. You hear guys talk about that all the time when they DH for the first time. And he had to get over what was this kind of heavy sense of guilt that he felt, that he wasn't contributing how he normally does, that he was stealing DH days from guys that came to the Phillies expecting them. And he accomplished those couple things with a conversation from a Phillies legend in Jimmy Rollins. On a 2-0 pitch, he takes away ball 3. It was May 5th. Harper was hitting .232 at that point, and Jimmy Rollins walks into the clubhouse. You can tell that Bryce is kind of down in the dumps. They talked about the routine. Rollins relayed some things he had learned from Big Papi when he had a short time hitting as a DH when he was in Chicago. That's a strike, 3-1. The big thing that Big Papi talked about was have a distraction. You're the DH. You can't be dialed into every pitch of every game. So Harper's put together this routine that distracts him a little bit from the downtime. And on his guilt, Jimmy said, look, man, it's okay to be hurt, and it's okay to make outs. You still have the respect of every person in that room.
All 4.
Takes the walk here. They're at the corners. And, John, from that point forward, he's hitting .391.
Yeah, it's definitely an adjustment. You mentioned a lot of things he went through as a player who's normally playing both ways all the time. I totally get it. Can you imagine what would happen to the Philadelphia Phillies if the DH hadn't come to the National League?
No chance.
Yeah.
No shot.
So it's a bonus, and I think everybody who's on that team realizes thankfully we have the DH, and thankfully we have our MVP in the lineup. We'll make up the necessary needs wherever we have to until he can get back out there.
The last thing Jimmy Rollins told him is, one more thing, by the way, don't forget, you're still the baddest man on the planet.
Yeah.
Nick Castellanos takes ball 1 from Lorenzen. One of the new Phillies that they brought in to add to that high-octane offense. And like Schwarber, a bit of a slow start after a big 2021 and a big contract. 2-0.
These guys former teammates, so they kind of know each other, and I think for a guy like Castellanos, he if he wasn't such a new player here, I think he could grab the reins of leadership. I really do. And I think early on you try to find who that guy's going to be. Doesn't always have to be your superstar. But I think that continuity is starting to grow, you know, in the identity of the Phillies. They know what they need to do. They know their warts. Like, the players don't have to be told statistically where they rank in, you know, defense, offense. They know. They're just, their goal is to not expose it. Put pressure on it.
Boy, Lorenzen is all over the place, and the bases are loaded for the Phillies. And they're loaded for a guy who has started to look more like himself lately. JT Realmuto, who this part has not slumped. That arm, one of the best in baseball.
Yeah, you know, you build your defense from the middle of the diamond, and it's pretty darn good for the Phillies behind home plate. And the opposite side, that the Angels can't really shut down the running game. They have a lot of stolen bases against their starters. The Phillies, on the other hand, can do that with their catcher,
who did not look good offensively first month and a half or so, but he's toyed around with that toe tap and the leg kick and has a hit in 9 consecutive starts, looking a lot more like the all-star catcher that he is. Bases loaded first inning. He yanks one towards the left field corner. That's down all the way to the wall for Muto. It's a 2-run double and a good start for the Phillies.
Well, in the first inning, not that he's feeling out his pitches, just been a little bit flat and location's been a little bit off. That's not the worst of pitches, but it was a little flat. Normally he's got a little more life to that pitch. He dominates the inside part of the plate. And Real Muto in his hitting streak has been kind of going the other way, so you try to pound him in. He goes right with the pitch, pulls it down the line, and what is it, 12-0 now, the new managers for the Phillies?
That's right. If he retired, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. Greatest run differential ever. Second and third for Bohm, who takes strike one from Lorenzen. Alec Bohm slumping, one for his last 24 as his kind of career roller coaster continues. Runner-up for Rookie of the Year in 2020. So bad last year that he was demoted to AAA. Came into this year not having a sure roster spot. It's one of their best hitters over the first few weeks, but it's not been good lately. 0-2.
I think anytime, look, you know, this is a special market with a fan base that if they see what they want to see in a player, they're going to love you, right? And I think they're going to end up loving this guy because after he atoned for the issue, the crowd grew to him. He's had a nice little stretch run, but he's going to go through his peaks and valleys being young.
Chases one way up there and down on 3 pitches. An exasperation look on his face.
See, the hardest thing in this game, and I know this is going to sound like a stupid statement, but it's amazing how many guys chase results. And when you chase results as a hitter, you can get in a pretty good funk. And he definitely wears his emotions. You could tell he's one that, all right, you show that, but at some point you got to learn how to curtail that and know that's just one at bat and not give the pitcher the edge. And the vice versa, the pitcher's trying to do the same thing. When he's on the mound, you never want to let the hitter know that he's better than you. And so that's that cat and mouse game that each guy's got to play.
Here's Bryson Stott. So if you're on the mound there, you see that reaction from Bohm and gives you another little edge.
Yeah, I feel like the guy's pressing and I don't have to throw him a strike. I mean, if teams that are really good, when they force you as a pitcher to be on your game and throw strikes, it's harder. But if I don't have to throw strikes on the percentage that you have to against some teams, my job just got easier. And so that game within the game, yeah, we're in a velocity all-time high game of pitching. But if teams will swing at that pitch and it'll go unnoticed, and then a pitcher goes, oh shoot, no one's swinging at that pitch, and I'm missing he's behind a lot in this inning. You see the 12 balls and 7 strikes. That's what good teams, good offenses can do when you're not in your game.
3-0 to Stott. Ball 4. Third walk of the inning issued by Michael Lorenzen. Already a pitching coach visit. Matt Wise.
See, this is how you get hurt. You see it all the time. You just see things. You see things like this and you learn, right? I mean, this isn't uncommon, and you have to learn a lesson that even though I want to show everybody I'm super mad, the bat wins all the time. You don't win. I won't name the person, but on our team, whenever he got upset, he would go in the hallway, make sure no one was there, and throw the bat against the hallway back and forth rather than holding on to the bat and trying to crush this thing in the hole that he can't do. And I'm telling you, he'll learn to be better at this, and when he does, there'll be more consistency.
Ricocheted up and cut him. Bases loaded, 2 out, 2-0 Phillies. Johan Camargo with a chance to break this thing open early. Fouls off the first one from Lorenzen. Yeah, this is the other thing for the Angels, John. We mentioned that their offense was #1 in the American League during that 21-11 start. Well, the starting pitching was way better than anybody thought it would be, but that has tanked lately too.
Well, just to emphasize that, they've lost 9 in a row, and they're still currently, I know it's early, but this is when you start thinking about playoff positioning, really, because you get towards the All-Star break. And there's the numbers in the first 37 games. But you lose 9 in a row, and you're out of the playoff spot, you would think. Well, they're not. So, I mean, sky's not falling, but they got to get some wins here pretty quick. Been a rough road trip.
Trying to make it to the postseason for the first time since 2014. That's a strike. Big call right there for Lorenzen, and it's 1-2 on Camargo. For Lorenzen, if there's been an issue, it's been the first inning. His ERA in the first is close to 6. It's below 3 after. Castellanos at third, Real Muto at second, Stott at first. 1-2. Ball 2.
I mean, I obviously talk about how strong he is upper body. He's an upper body pitcher. He's still using his legs, but he's so strong up top that he can rely on that part of his body. And right now it's a little out of sync in the connection of his changeup, which has been pretty good, and then that late life fastball that he attacks everybody arm side with.
Full count. Oh, the runner's going to get a head start here. 2 in the bank on the double from Real Muto. They're loaded up for Camargo.
I wonder if he'll have the guts to throw a 3-2 changeup here. He hasn't been connecting with his fastball.
Yeah, think about it a little bit more.
Problem with throwing that pitch is actually Camargo's been pretty good against changeups. But if you think he's trying to send this one to the seats and get a 4-run spot on one swing, you might get him aggressive.
3-2. Yeah, it is pulled through the right side base hit. Went with the hard stuff, and Camargo knocked it into right field to bring home 2 more, and it's 4-0 Phillies.
See, the problem with that pitch is instead of 96, 97 fastball with life, he threw a 91-mile-an-hour cutter, and that looks hittable to the hitter who's seeing velocity, and then this isn't velocity. This is more trying to get it off the barrel of the bat, and that's what happens when you work yourself into a kind of a pickle with a 3-2 count, nowhere to go.
That's a pitch for Lorenzen, John, that last year was his most used pitch when he's working out of the bullpen for the Reds. Hadn't thrown it that much this year. Used it in a key spot there. This one gets a chunk of the catcher Stassi.
Well, see, that pitch right there had more horizontal break. It had more effectiveness, and it was a freed up pitch versus 3-2. You know, you got to make the pitch. This is what I would always think about when you get to a 3-2 situation. If I throw my best pitch and I think he's going to swing, that's the pitch I go with. I don't care if it ends up as a ball, because if I think he's going to swing, it looks like a strike long enough. If you try to just guide a ball into the strike zone, those are the ones that don't have enough life and work.
Angels are thinking right now, can anything else go wrong? Seriously? Rendon's already on the IL. Fletcher's on the IL. Ward is out of the lineup, injured. They've had several players on the COVID IL.
Well, they're already thin, too. They only have a 3-man bench. So they rely on a lot of players playing different positions and a bullpen that has a few more arms.
Stassi will stay in the game. Count is 0-1 on Mickey Moniak. Former first overall pick. Grounds one off Lorenzen. He'll chase it down. Will he get him over there? Not in time. It's a 5-run first inning for the Phillies. And Moniak, who got his first hit of the season last night, gets an infield hit here.
Well, you find out a lot about your team going through stuff like this. You've lost 9 in a row. You want to get off to a good start, and you're down 5-0 in the first inning. Never know what it's going to take to click things around, but it's never good to face the leadoff hitter twice in the first inning.
Schwarber only saw one pitch, set the tone, doubling off the top of the wall and right. Well, June is here, so look out, right? Here comes Kyle Schwarber.
I mean, he's been an amazing streaky hitter, right? Great athlete. His average is way down, 204, but you see the homers. He will grind out at bats. And that's the one thing they like about their lineup, right? Even if the average, and this is not a prototypical leadoff hitter that you would think about, but today's day and age, this is what they look like.
Yeah.
Hoskins, take a lot of pitches, work the count, grind out the at-bats. Harper will take pitches, but you've shown this year that he's aggressive. So this offense can make it kind of nasty on the opposing pitcher.
On a 1-1 pitch, it's in the dirt ball 2. Schwarber had that stretch last summer, Johnny, where he had 16 home runs in 18 games in June. And so far this June, this is now 2+ games. He's 5 for 8, 3 home runs and a double. Camargo at third, Moniak at first. Schwarber takes ball 3.
Well, he might have that calendar clock in his body. I get so excited for time change.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. When it gets lighter earlier and I can play more holes of golf.
There's the key. What, like 69 in a day?
Something like that. But guys come to certain months and they go, now's my time. Now I feel my stride.
That is the 4th walk of this disastrous first inning from Lorenzen.
Well, he's entering that danger period. 33 pitches. You never want to have a pitcher be out there more than 30, 35, 40 pitches if you can help it. And the one thing right now that has not clicked, and the hitters have not gone after his changeup. He hasn't thrown him close enough, and he's now down to really a 1+ pitcher, not even a 2-pitch pitcher, because they've taken away his breaking ball and they've hit his cutter pretty good this inning.
That bullpen gets to work. Yeah, he's thrown 10 changeups. He's gotten just 1 for a strike. And my goodness, Stassi just got hit again. And a foul ball off of the bat of Rhys Hoskins.
A lot of catchers will try to get that hand behind that bottom, and he had it out there for another ricochet.
Kurt Suzuki last weekend, he was catching warm-ups before an inning, and one bounced and hit him in the neck. Passed out when he was walking down the steps back to the clubhouse. He had to go to the hospital. Been a bad week for the Angels. Been a horrible week for Angels catchers. Already 5 runs in this first inning. Bases loaded again. Hoskins takes a ball, and it's 1-1.
See, fastball command is absolutely tough as we look at this play right here. Just a fluke. Almost a reverse bounce on a breaking ball, and it caught him in the absolute worst spot.
1-2 on Hoskins.
We talked with Joe Madden today, and I've always intrigued with what stage of the season does he prepare his team for what he calls very strategic parts of, like, show and go. Give guys a break. And right now they're in the no beat. They're not taking batting practice. It's been a long road trip. He's got guys tired. He thinks batting practice can be overrated on the field.
Hoskins chases here to end this first inning. But the Phillies score 5 times and outscoring the Angels in 10 innings in this series, 15-0.
Karsten Sabathia trains in Win Reality.
I love it.
So Karsten hits in reality. He trains in Win Reality.
I'm glad I'm retired.
He hits in reality. Train in Win Reality. Win in reality. See infinite game speed pitches, work on timing, pitch recognition, and get more hits. Train new school. Hit old school. Be ready for real. Win reality.
Hey guys, Gronk here to talk to you about your hair game. Hims has a full lineup of clinically proven hair loss treatments, all prescribed online by a licensed medical provider and shipped directly to your door, if appropriate. Order today and get a 90-day money-back guarantee at 4hims.com.
With the Game Time app, I paid 60% less than this guy. What? And it's not just sports tickets. It's also concerts. Performances, too.
Oh, come on!
Download Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive offers 24/7 protection when you bundle home, auto, and motorcycle. And by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Well, the Angels playing from behind quickly here. 5-0 in a tall task, and that they're trying to do it against this guy.
Yeah, good news, bad news. If you go into their dugout, you go, good news, guys, we got 8 innings. Bad news is their ace is on the mound.
What do you want first? Jared Walsh is at the plate when last inning ended with the caught stealing, and he flies the first pitch to left. There's Schwarber. There's out number 1. Zack Wheeler, you know, the Phillies signed him to that contract that at the time some people said, okay, has he really warranted that? Because his career was exactly league average.
Yeah.
League average ERA. But they signed him not necessarily on what he had done, but on their projections, and he's been worth every penny.
Yeah, well, he was in between on a lot of things during that stretch, and I'll explain. You get in between what pitch selection you want to do, and you get in between mechanically. What he has gotten so good at since Tommy John is that lower half and that foot goes down in a strong position. See how that foot goes down? I give up a hit.
Center.
But he was picking that foot up and lightly putting it down at times where that was creating an inconsistency and getting hit a lot. When he does it well, the fastball has life, and he goes back to being able to throw 2 fastballs, 4-seam up, 2-seam down. But that foot, instead of reaching out, sometimes it came down soft. He's now connected with his body. I know he gave up a hit right there, but that, to your point, is what when that clicks as a pitcher, you're a different pitcher. And they're seeing a much different pitcher than what his statistics showed before with the Mets.
1-on-1 out. Here's Brandon Marsh. Little bit inside, ball 1. Now, Wheeler was always kind of the next big thing for the Mets, right? And they had a lot of those next big things. They had him right at the head of that list when they acquired him for Carlos Beltran. He was the 6th overall pick of the Giants and then traded to the Mets in 2011. Was their top prospect before he debuted a couple years later. It's 2-0. The first couple seasons he was okay. You mentioned the Tommy John surgery. He missed 2 full years for that. He had a +5 ERA as he tried to figure out those changes you're mentioning in his first year back. But he's just gotten better and better in the years since. 32-year-old from Smyrna, Georgia. Gets a swing and a miss, and it's 2-1.
And see, that's right there is what I was talking about.
Above and Beyond, sponsored by Jersey Mike's. You figured this was coming as he shook the rust off in that month of April. He's looked like Zack Wheeler of 2021 in the month since. His 2-1 to Marsh. A little high, ball 3.
See, when you're an arms and elbows guy, that's why the timing of your foot getting down. Watch how the hand comes out. It's a power position. See how it just explodes past the hitter? When that timing is good, that hitter thinks that ball's hittable, and it by you. When the timing's bad and your hand comes out a little slow and your hand and foot don't work in conjunction with each other, the ball gets a little flatter, it's a little more hittable, and that's the difference between elite stuff. See, that's electric. That's throwing it down the middle going, that's better than you, and I can tell you it's coming. That, the way it comes out, is the Zack Wheeler that the Philadelphia Phillies fell in love with, and that's just an exploding fastball, and you couple that with his off-speed pitches, he's become an ace.
He's like he's cracking the whip.
Correct, and when the whip's off, that's when the ball's flatter. You can't generate a whip just on your backside and just with your arm.
Whips another one by him. 97 this time.
The other thing I'll add on that, just for the viewer at home, they don't understand. If you force velocity and it looks 98 on a gun, but you're forcing it, it doesn't look that way to the hitter. You know, Goose Gossage back going on the throwback machine, he looked like he threw hard. His body was going all over the place. The hardest guys to hit are the guys like this that don't look like they're throwing hard. They look like it's just whoop, and the ball's by him. And the hitter will tell you, can't see it coming out of his hand like that. It's just popping. And, you know, there's plenty of guys now in the league that have that gift. And Wheeler and Strasburg and DeGrom and could go on, or those kind of pitchers. Like Max Scherzer is a perfect first name. Like, he's coming after you, but he's using everything he has to come after you. It's not a fluid, we wouldn't call it a fluid delivery, but it works for him. This is kind of fluid and ho-hum, and whoop, there it goes.
I believe it's whoop, there it is.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to get in trouble for, what do they call that? Plagiarism?
Copyrighted.
Oh, there we go. Copyright.
Luis Renjifo fouls this one off his foot. 1 ball, 1 strike. And it's, I mean, man, oh man.
Ooh, that's off the shin guard there on his side of his shin.
Luis Renjifo is the 5th different second baseman they've used, partially because of injuries, partially because the guys that have filled in for the injured players haven't been good, and he's been a bright spot. Came up in early May and has put together the best month of his up and down major league career here.
You know, I know David Fletcher wasn't having a David Fletcher type year, and he's been out for a while, but I think that's a dynamic they're missing. That's a contact guy, doesn't look pretty, puts the ball in play, gets on base. He's going to have a hard time finishing this game where that ball hit him.
As we continue to take a look at Renjifo, and he tests this out, we remind you that Fox Bet Super 6 is giving you a chance to win $10,000 tonight. Simply scan the QR code, download the Super 6 app, enter your picks in the MLB Super 6 Challenge for a chance at the jackpot. Download the Super 6 app now for free chances to win big every week. Luis Renjifo came up to the majors a few years ago and has been on that shuttle back and forth since. He's been optioned 8 times. And, you know, anytime a guy has that as his backstory, you're going to have to yank him right out of the game to get him out. He's going to fight to stay in
perspective,
there.
right? Yeah, that's the cruelest part of the big leagues is getting that, what they call a cup of coffee, and not wanting to go back. And it's a driving force to want to get here and stay. A lot of people make it. It's very difficult to stay. And the ones that get to stay, it's a fun ride.
Once you get a taste of that prime ribeye, like don't give me the choice ribeye anymore, right? So he's gonna give it a go and take a ball from Wheeler. 2-1. Not just optioned 8 times, but traded twice. Almost traded a 3rd time. It's actually reported that he was headed to the Dodgers a couple years ago for Jock Peterson and Ross Stripling, key piece in that deal, but that deal fell through. And here he is now in his 4th year with the Angels. Fouls it off 2-2. Said flashes of being a really good player. Has never found much consistency. Joe Madden was raving about him to us before the game today, saying how much his game has matured. He doesn't see the mental mistakes anymore. He doesn't see the ups and the downs mentally that come with struggling in the major leagues. Much steadier. Playing through pain here, waiting on a 2-2 from Zack Wheeler. And he'll see another.
Good pitch right there. Not many curveballs so far out of Zack. Hasn't needed it. Curveball, swing and miss pitch for Zack, and just getting a piece of it.
Renjifo trying to extend the inning for Lagares. Stassi at first, 2 out, 2-2. Somehow spoils that. Smiling through the pain.
Back-to-back curveballs. Typically, if you get the hitter thinking slower, you try to speed him up here on a fastball after 2 breaking balls in a row. See if Zack likes that approach or goes right back inside.
All his swings and misses have come on fastballs so far. Cutter. We'll do it again. Charted as a slider, calls it a slider, but it's very cutter-like.
Yeah.
He's throwing it more than ever.
Right. Curveball changes up eye level, up and down. Slider / cutter changes east and west. And all you're trying to do is get the ball off the barrel of the bat if they're hunting a fastball.
Threw that baby 43 times in his start against the Mets on Sunday. It's the second most he's ever thrown it. 8th pitch in this painful at-bat for Luis Renjifo. Is blooped into right. On comes Castellanos, and it's a base hit. How about Luis Renjifo gritting his teeth through the pain, fighting to stay in the game, and then singling into right off Zack Wheeler.
Yeah, really good at bat, and I felt that that fastball right there after the curveballs would have been more effective than the slider in, and he just got enough of it. Did a great job fighting this thing off, good enough to get rewarded. And you're right, what a good at bat.
We were talking about the short bench for the Angels, just 3 bench players that they carry. One of them, Taylor Ward, available only in a pinch hit role tonight. So Joe Madden saying, boy, if you're saying you want to stay in the game, good, because I don't know that I got anybody to come in for you. It's a strike on Juan Lagares.
Well, I got to admit, National League, when we didn't have the DH, my dream was to play a position at one point before I retired. So when we got down to a bench that only had pitchers or maybe 1 position player left, I'd go next to that position player and yell, trying to get him thrown out, like yell at the umpire and then walk away.
That was so good. Are you good at imitating? Could you pull off any guys' voices? And
the sad part is Bobby did promise me I could play center field for an inning or 2, but then I got hurt with the shoulder and that went away. But yeah, you mentioned they don't have much room for guys getting thrown out, an injury.
The 3 guys they have on the bench, Ward, who is fighting through that hamstring, available to pinch hit, but you don't want to put him in the game defensively. The backup catcher, Kurt Suzuki, is not coming in this situation. And so you really have 1 guy. You have Tyler Wade, and with this being the 2nd inning, Renjifo saying, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah, you just hope it doesn't tighten up as the game goes on.
First and second, 2 away, 5-0 game, 2nd inning, and a 1-2. Lagares down on a high fastball. That's the pitch that's been rolling for Wheeler tonight. He's got 3 Ks through 2 scoreless. Bryce Harper already coming up for his 2nd plate appearance of the night.
There's more to baseball than just the game.
Who's the biggest jokester in that clubhouse?
MLB Network's Off Base, the show that talks about baseball and everything around it.
The sky's the limit. That's why we love this sport.
Off Base, only on MLB Network.
I got the mic today. I got the mic.
You got the mic.
I got the mic today.
Mom, I'm sorry if you hear anything that is said tonight. I apologize. I love you. I haven't talked to you in a few days.
Lo tuyo es rolling, olvídate de los fly. Dame los fly a mí, lo tuyo es para abajo. Le voy a decir a la gente que me ponga el micrófono todos los días. Claro.
We would love to promote something, sell some write some bills, write some checks, but Bryce Harper's probably swinging.
Yep.
So had to play it safe. Strike one.
Impressive start to a year where, of course, he gets the MVP. Like trying to back it up.
You know, it's amazing, John. I think that a decade into his career now, he's done what seemed like the impossible, and that is live up to the hype, because he's the most hyped player ever.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, the most hyped ever position player.
Yes.
Yeah, there was tremendous hype over Strasburg in early part in his career, and that's another story. But this guy is, tell he was meant to play this sport.
Good change up there from Lorenzen. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
See, that's the best action he's had off of a fastball for a strike. And not many swings and misses at this one. This one drops right off the table.
So now 1-2 pitch. Harper takes away 2-2. Lorenzen just trying to dig deep here and get him what he can. His 2-2 is fouled off.
Well, talking to some management in Philadelphia, I mean, certainly, the world was shocked when he signed here. But he's been and done everything that they could ask him to do away from the game and about the game, you know, and so from that standpoint, he's been awesome here, going to be here foreseeable future, a long contract, and they would love nothing more than to bring a ring. I'm sure he's.
Takes strike 3. Well located backdoor slider there for the first out. 3rd K for Lorenzen. Well, he's signed through 2031, his age 38 season. That's what he wanted. He wanted the longest deal that he could get. There were places where he could have gotten more money per year, but all along the goal was to get the longest deal that he could. place where he could have his family, raise his family, a city and a park that he liked, and a place where he felt he had a chance to win.
Well, high expectations, and probably again following him to the point of maybe not all attainable, but man, if they win a championship here with his tenure, this place will go crazy. It's been a while. It's been a minute
since they've even been in the postseason.
Yeah.
It's 1-1 on Castellanos. Only the Mariners have a longer postseason drought than the Phillies.
Hard to believe.
It really
I don't think a lot of fans of baseball would come up with this list apart from the Mariners. That's pretty much well documented. I think a lot of other teams you would put ahead of the Phillies if you're trying to guess this list.
Castellanos flies one to right for Juan Lagares, and out number 2. Get out and play ball this weekend, June 10th through the 12th. Free events are being held in communities across the country. Register your kids today. Visit MLB.com/playballweekend for more information. And he's 10 straight years missing the postseason. That comes after a stretch of time there where they were the dominant team in the league. They had 5 straight division titles, a world championship in 2008. Real Muto had the 2-run double in the first inning. With the bases empty and 2 away, takes the ball.
You know, when they first built this park, it played so small, and you got the sense that it's going to be a hitter's paradise, and it's kind of leveled out over time. And they would have a hard time getting a lot of pitchers to come here. Well, they proved that wrong when they had their fantastic Cliff Lee and Doc Holliday, and, you know, Hamels. They pitched unbelievable in a ballpark that, for the most part, when it first few years, the ball jumped out of here.
It's one of the things we'll get into as this game goes on, but it's not playing, especially this year, close to how it's played in years past. Pulled sharply by third and down the left field line. Real Muto headed to second. He's 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles over the first 2 innings of this game.
I tell you what, you start thinking about some of the players around the league that used to be a Marlins property. They got a pretty good team that's playing somewhere else.
Yeah. Can I interest you in Stanton?
Yeah, Yelich,
Ozuna,
Marte.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, Marte was.
He was there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. Alec Bohm, runner at second, 2 away. Boy, they're pitching though, aren't they? High drive center field. Trout going back at the track with room. That's one of the balls that in previous years you think might carry on out of here. Not this time. That ends the inning. That's Rhys Hoskins, and he's wired up for us. We're going to visit with Rhys when we come back.
Every time he takes the field, he competes not only against the other team, but against the toughest adversary, himself. MLB Tonight, where the best outdo their best on MLB Network.
Baseball's biggest moments are live on MLB Big Inning. MLB.TV's nightly show takes you from game to game for all the grand slams, no-hitters, walk-offs, and more as they happen.
Wow, he can do it all!
Don't miss the ultimate baseball highlight reel.
This is some kind of awesome.
After your game ends, the action's just heating up on MLB Big Inning. Every night on MLB.TV.
first inning. 5-0 as we go to the third. And as promised, Rhys Hoskins wearing an earpiece and a mic for us. Rhys, how you doing?
I'm great. What a beautiful night in Philly for a game of baseball. We always like 5 runs in the first, so
that'll help. Here's Velasquez to lead off this inning for the Angels, and you're going to have some company already.
What should I ask him? Anything?
Glad it wasn't a fastball.
Nickname is Squid, right? I wonder where he got it.
Yeah, ask him.
You all right?
You know what's crazy? I was thinking about wearing an Evo seal today. I didn't get it.
But that's all right.
That's when they get you, huh?
Hey, I'm just going to let you know I'm mic'd up.
I know. I seen that.
Yeah. I got to ask you where the nickname Squid came from.
Hands, bro. Like
good hands. That's fair. That's fair.
Aspen?
You got a lot of hands.
I was going to run, but I saw JT's arm.
Velasquez on, back to the top, and Matt Duffy. That is a strike. How much fun you guys have in these last couple? I know it's been a lot going on lately, but these last couple nights look to be fun.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yesterday obviously a weird day. Business of baseball shows itself every once in a while, but it was cool to see the boys get out of the field and just play the game. Hey, you gonna go? You gonna go?
I would like to.
You think they'll let you? There's a lot of game left.
Just go and ask.
Shouldn't shut it down yet. I kind of hope you do with JT.
Tell him it's good TV.
I like our chances back there with number 10, though. Smoltzy, what's it do for you or as a pitcher with a guy like JT that can control the running game back there?
It's the greatest feeling in the world because I just get to concentrate on the hitter.
Yeah. I think that's what our guys say, too. I always try to get these guys over here to run.
Duffy down on strikes. 1 away in the third.
Well, I'm going to ask you something that I have no experience with for the most part. I played for one manager my whole career. I just know as players you get adjustments, and you've gone through a couple of them. Is it just business as usual, or how do you adjust to when changes are made?
Well, I think it has to be business as usual, right? Like, I think that's the nature of the baseball season. It's a day in and day out thing. Unfortunately, the game just goes on, and I think we're pretty lucky that, you know, some of us have been with Rob Thompson for a couple years, so there's a lot of familiarity, and that's kind of what he said to us too. It's business as usual. Let's win some baseball games.
The ball on Ohtani. What can you tell us about Rob Thompson?
He's a baseball man. He's been in the game for. I don't even want to say a number because I'll probably get it wrong. It probably won't be enough, but. You know, he studied championship clubs for 30 years. He's coached some of the all-time greats. He's won at the highest level. And I think that kind of experience is pretty invaluable. It's something that not everybody has, and I think it's something that we as players have to take advantage of. And we will.
It's 2-0 on Ohtani.
Good pitch. Hey, how much is hitters in this ballpark? I know that the flags can be deceiving, but on a day like tonight, how much of those flags are reality of what the ball's doing in the air?
So ours is a little weird just because we kind of have that. It's open in the center but closed everywhere else, so the wind will swirl a little bit. In Philly, when it gets hot, it often doesn't matter what the wind's doing.
Ohtani flies this one down the line. It's going to be a foul ball.
Yeah, it often doesn't matter what the wind's doing once it starts to get hot, a little humid. I don't think there's not a whole lot of wind tonight. I'm maybe 7, 8, 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Maybe balls right in that State Farm area might get knocked down a little bit, but Not a whole lot.
We were talking about how the data shows that it's been a much better pitcher's park this year, that it's not flying nearly as well. Has it felt like that as a hitter?
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, right, with the Northeast, I'm not sure how normal the weather has been in terms of temperature, but the Northeast baseball in April and May can be windy and cold or both, and it's not fun as a hitter. You can hit balls right into the teeth of the wind. It doesn't go anywhere.
You got some pretty good company coming down there.
I know, right? It looks like he's pretty ecstatic to be on first base against Wheels. Can't blame him.
Do you guys, Reese, marvel at a player like that the way we all do?
No doubt. No doubt. Hitting is hard enough, and pitching is hard enough, and he's doing both.
Trout now. 5.
Come on.
4. Out of the glove of Camargo. On the transfer, they get the out at second. Ohtani not convinced of that yet.
He's hoping.
This ball was hit kind of soft, and Trout can fly. So this has got to be a quick transfer, and you see it's in the glove, and he definitely will get the out because it was in the transfer of the throw to first base.
So he heads back. Out number 2. Runners at the corners.
Yeah. That's what speed does to us as infielders, though, right? Like, he knows that Trout's running. He knows Ohtani's a good runner that's breathing down his neck at second base. You got to get one. He got one, but I like our chances with Wheeler.
Who goes to work against Jared Walsh.
I'm mic'd up, all right? You gonna go? You gonna go?
I need to get a bag though. I ain't got none this year.
Well, you can't. You gotta have more than 0. I don't have any, but something tells me you will.
He's not lying to you, Reese. He hasn't tried yet.
Haven't even tried? You haven't even tried? Yeah, that's what it is.
He said he's not on base.
He said he's waiting for the right moment. Is it with JT back there?
What's that?
Is it with JT back there?
Is it because JT's back there?
Is that the right moment?
Two and 1.
Great breaking ball there. Hitters count. Walsh, good low ball hitter with power. Wheeler goes to the bottom of the zone. Gets a swing and a miss.
Multi, what do you think here? I got heater up.
Yeah.
What do you got?
That's the pitch that gives him the most trouble. Fastball up.
I got heater up.
Here it is.
Oh, I didn't get
it was a heater, but it was in and it was down, and it's in the center. So Jared Walsh gets the Angels on the board with a 2-out base hit. It's 5-1.
Yeah, location just a little bit off there. Right idea going up with a 4-seam fastball, and it ends up being right down the middle, even though he didn't square it up.
Damn it.
He got rewarded there with a big 2-out hit.
To Jared Walsh, drives home Andrew Velasquez. 5-1 game. Up comes the catcher, Max Stassi.
In this count, he won't throw this.
Well, if nothing else, the Angels really made Wheeler work in this inning. Still 2 outs.
Inside corner for a strike. We've been talking all night, Reese, about what we think you guys have to do to make a run. What's the conversation internally about what you guys need to do?
Well, I think offensively, we haven't really all gotten going together at the same time. That's going to help. I think our starting pitching has been outstanding. They've given us a chance every night, and we believe in this dugout that if these guys give us a chance because of who we got offensively, that we're going to have a pretty good chance to win, even if we're down early. You know, like we put together some pretty professional at bats, and that can tend to turn into a big inning. So we'll get going offensively. We got to do a better job of catching the ball. We've definitely given some extra outs to teams, especially late in games. And I think we'll do that. We got an outstanding staff that's helping us prepare every day. And just with more reps, we're going to get better. So I think if we can clean some of that stuff up, not give extra outs to other teams, we'll get some more big hits. I think that's when you can see us going on a run.
I know if the game goes well for you guys, anybody going to give some advice to Mr. Bohm about Bat Rack being undefeated?
I could definitely give it to. I've tried. He's tough. The Bat Rack is tough, man. If that's what it takes for him to move on, though, I'm for it.
2-2 from Wheeler to Stassi. Got him with a fastball. Reese, always enjoy visiting with you. We appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, it's me. The summer breeze. I just flew back into town. Let's get outside. Much better.
Hey guys, Gronk here to talk to you about your hair game. Hims has a full lineup of clinically proven hair loss treatments, all prescribed online by a licensed medical provider and shipped directly to your door, if appropriate. Order today and get a 90-day money-back guarantee at 4hims.com.
Yeah! Nice. What? With the Game Time app, I pay 60% less than this guy. 60%? Game Time finds you the best last-minute deals and guarantees the lowest price. Download Game Time now. Nice shirt.
Well, Michael Lorenzen doing his best to settle into this game after giving up 5 runs in the first inning. Pitched a scoreless second and faces the bottom third of the Phillies lineup here in the third. It's Bryson Stott. Stott walked his first time. He takes a strike here.
I'll tell you what, I mean, these things don't ever get recorded in your stats, but if he pitches 5 innings after the start he had, that's huge for the team. Even if they don't win, those are the things as a pitcher. You can't just keep your head down and like, all right, I'm gonna get out of this game. You got to provide innings, and he hasn't changed his emotion, and he certainly hasn't changed his demeanor as far as he knows he's still got a lot of pitching to do.
0-2 is taken low. They got just 1 2/3 last night from their starter Chase Silseth. Thankfully, in that situation, was enough of a blowout right away where they had 2 pitchers cover the rest of the way. Berea and Wantz went the last 6 1/3. But you don't want to be digging into your bullpen already again. Lorenzen doing his best to avoid that. 30-year-old who Ken Rosenthal visited with him, and he said he might be the happiest player he's encountered all season. He's getting a chance to start and doing it for his hometown team. He gets a strikeout here to open the 3rd. He grew up playing center field, trying to be like Jim Edmonds, dreaming of one day putting on the Angels uniform.
Well, let's not forget he can hit.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a 2A guy, Cal State Fullerton. Like, not just dabbled. He hit 322 in college.
Yeah, he can hit. I mean, obviously, again, the struggle I would think for him is because he's so strong upper body is you tend to rely on that. And as a pitcher, you need your lower half to really work. And it looks like since the first inning, his lower half's taking over a little bit. He looks freed up and delivering the ball and has more action on the pitches. If you, again, no pun intended, but if you muscle up a pitch, it doesn't have the same effect that if you can just fluidly throw a pitch and let all your body and muscles working with one another.
Got a strike on Camargo with a breaking ball. Grounded to second. Picked up by Renjifo for out number 2. Johnny ready?
Yes, I think they're going to win.
Baby. USFL Week 8 continues tomorrow. Me and John's Michigan Panthers take on your Philadelphia Stars. It all kicks off at noon Eastern, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. You went back to the hotel the other day after we talked about the Panthers are our only hope because our Lions have been upsetting us our whole lives. And you watched them blow it late.
They lost in overtime.
Oh, man.
Interesting overtime rules, by the way, if you haven't. You get 3 chances from the 2-yard line, and you alternate. The most points wins the overtime.
Kind of like a shootout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's intriguing because it's not just, you know, one and done. You got some strategy to how you want to do it.
0-2 quickly on Moniak. Would you implement it? You want to put it in the NFL?
You know what I'd implement? I know it sounds a little bit crazy now to say, but get 2 points from what, the 2-yard line?
Yeah.
Maybe like a 4-pointer from the 10-yard line or something like that, where you, when you're down more than 1 score, you got some options, you know, like a 3-pointer in basketball versus a regular field goal.
How about this inning for Lorenzen? You talk about him looking a little more fluid. Bookend K's on a 1-2-3 inning.
This is my first time trying on glasses at home.
So cute! 5 different frames from Warby Parker.
Oh, this one's better. Ooh. Ah. Hey.
The virtual try-on is perfect. Like, they look like they're on my face. Like, look at this. Just swipe and switch.
These are definitely a keeper.
I think these are the one. Ooh, these look good.
That was so easy. They make it so fun and fabulous.
With the Game Time app, I paid 60% less than this guy.
What?
And it's not just sports tickets. It's also concerts.
Seriously?
Performances, too!
Oh, come on!
Game Time finds you the best last-minute deals and guarantees the lowest price.
Am I underdressed?
Download Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Life is about balance. If I get the proper amount of sleep, then I'm gonna be ready for whatever's to come. I use Aura Ring to always let me know everything that's going on with my body. The accuracy is what sets Aura apart. My sleep score is something that I'm always paying attention to. It's literally part of my morning routine. Always trying to make the most out of this thing we call life.
Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Allstate, reminding you that baseball season is mayhem. And by Charles Schwab, own your tomorrow. What a perfect night it is in Philadelphia. The weather and the baseball for Phillies fans. 5 in the first inning and a 5-1 lead as we go to the 4th. Joe Davis and John Smoltz back in Citizens Bank Park. The Phillies hadn't beaten the Angels in 19 years before last night's game. They snapped the 12-game skid in that 10-0 win. Wheeler to Brandon Marsh, ball 1.
Or Brandon Marsh facing this guy, I would want to get as much success early as possible in the count. 2 strikes, elevated fastball, not a good scenario against Wheeler.
Hey! 1-1. Now Marsh has been one of the most consistent guys so far. Former top prospect, debuted last year when Mike Trout was out. He says his comfort level is night and day better here in his second year. On a 2-1 from Wheeler. It's a breaker for a strike, and it's 2-2.
Angels had a hard time against Wheeler's 4-seam fastball.
Another 2-2. Marsh down swinging in the high fastball again. It's time for a game break. We check in with Kevin Burkhardt.
Yeah, high praise for that young man, and he's delivering. Nasty stuff. Look, the Padres ain't messing around in their rotation. They stay healthy, they're going to be a thorn.
Renjifo cracks his bat on the ball caught by Rhys Hoskins over at first.
You know, we always tendency is to kind of reinvent the wheel, but the reality is you look at every team that's leading their division. And they're leading their division because they're pitching better than everybody else. I haven't closely looked at Minnesota, but I'm talking, you know why Houston's in first. You know why the Yankees are in first, the Mets, the Dodgers, and of course Milwaukee. And it really is that simple. You pitch better than everybody else. You add a little bit of offense and defense. You're going to be in a good place.
Juan Lagares takes a strike.
Mets don't even have their 2 horses.
Isn't it crazy? Series going on in LA right now between the top 2 teams in the National League. That's deep in the hole at short. No chance for Stott to think about it. It's an infield hit for Juan Lagares. Keep this inning going. Yeah, look, I mean, okay, the Yankees, of course, have Aaron Judge hitting all those home runs, but the offense overall has been good, not great. They dealt with some injuries. The Dodgers been inconsistent offensively, but the pitching for both those teams really start to this point have been great.
Oh, it's a separator. I mean, Yankees pitching in that ballpark. I mean, you might as well magnify what they're doing because that ballpark is not a pitcher's dream at all, and they're doing it on the road. So you got big markets on an absolute heater out of the season with the Mets and the Yankees, and all the talk already in that city about what's possible. And Angels were off to a great start along with the Dodgers. And there was some talk there.
Strike one on Squid.
How about this guy last year with the Yankees? Boy, was he could have run for any political office he wanted with what he was doing offensively. They know about his defense, but offensively he was having kind of an above average there moments.
That combined with the fact that he's from the Bronx.
Yeah.
Lived his dream playing for the Yankees last year. Had his folk hero moment too. He had a weekend series against the Red Sox where he had 3 run-scoring hits. Like you're talking about, that bat showed up. He had a game-ending diving play on defense. Only played 28 games, but it was an opportunity of a lifetime for a guy that grew up right down the street from Yankee Stadium. Fouls this one off, and it's 1-2. He's been transformational for the Angels defensively. What he's done is short. Incredible.
Yeah. No, he definitely knows where his bread is buttered, and he is living up to that part of the equation.
Scott Lagares at first. 2 gone in this 4th inning. On a 1-2 from Zack Wheeler. He leaves it up 2-2. Rhys Hoskins got the origination of the Squid nickname. It's like he's got a bunch of arms. The Angels wore shirts with a picture of a squid wearing multiple baseball gloves, and on the back of it said 70% of the world is covered by water, the rest is covered by squid. Two. Full count. Joe Madden maintains that this guy's going to hit more than he has too. He's already valuable because he's that good defensively, even though he's not hitting a lick. But Madden seems to think there is some offense that's not been tapped yet. '27-year-old with his 5th team over the last 5 years, getting his first chance to play every day here with the Angels. On a 3-2 pitch, he's down on a fastball. The 7th K for Zack Wheeler over 4 innings.
From inside jokes.
Hey, look, it's Mike Napa-Fanakis.
To insiders' perspectives.
I like over 5.5 strikeouts on Walker Buehler.
Your best bet is the pregame spread. Served up only on MLB Network.
I got the mic today. I got the mic. You got the mic. I got the mic today.
Mom, I'm sorry if you hear anything that is said tonight. I apologize. I love you. I haven't talked to you in a few days.
Lo tuyo es rolling, olvídate de los fly. Dame los fly a mí, lo tuyo es para abajo. Le voy a decir a la gente que me ponga el micrófono todos los días. Claro.
In Philadelphia, baseball night in America on Fox. In this interleague matchup, Phillies took the first game 10-0. They lead here in game 2, 5-1. Strike one on Kyle Schwarber. Michael Lorenzen, John, has looked like a different guy since that first inning.
It really has, and I can't tell you, unless you've been there, done that, you give up 5 runs in the first inning. There's no worse feeling in the world. You prepare all week, you do your work, you get in the first inning, you're just like, all right, let's go, and next thing you know, it's 5-0. And you're staring at the scoreboard going, okay, that's just the first. And you know a lot of good things can happen after that, but he has been lights out. He's been free and easy. And like I said, a 5-inning game after giving up 5 in the first is a great outing. I don't care what the statistics will tell you. The team represents what that means to him. And Joe Maddon. Look, we talked to Joe Maddon, and I thought he said something very interesting. He's kind of, I think he's got the psychology of baseball pretty well in hand when he thinks about all these moments. He said, you wouldn't know if we've lost 9 in a row or won 9 in a row in our clubhouse, and that's the way I want it. And when you think about that, the ups and downs of a season, man, you can be dropping your head, you can have bad body language, but he's like, look, our guys, you wouldn't know that. And yeah, it's been a rough stretch, and nobody wants to lose 9 in a row. But I think that's kind of a good approach and a sign of a team that when it turns, it could turn quickly.
2-2 to Kyle Schwarber is lifted into left center field. Routine for Marsh. 1 gone in the 4th. We're talking about the Angels off to a fantastic start. They were tied with the Astros, 10 games above 500 in mid-May, but they've dropped 12 of their last 15. They've dropped 9 in a row, longest losing streak in 6 years. And while they find themselves way out in the division at this point, they are still, if the postseason were to begin today, in possession of that new 3rd wild card spot. Tampa Bay, Toronto, Los Angeles for those 3 wild card spots. Strike on Rhys Hoskins.
And you mentioned offensively, they were doing everything you need to do, beating up right-handed pitchers. The Angel hitters were hitting a bunch of home runs. They were hitting .431 against right-handed pitchers coming into this series. And you know, not striking out a lot. Now they have struck out a lot. You know, they're the 4th highest strikeout team. And it's the ebb and flow of a season, and you just wonder how in the world. Like, I wonder a couple things. How can an NBA team go on a 24-0 run? Right? You got stars on both sides. How can that happen? How can everybody go cold at the same time in a lineup? You know, the game is so much about feeding off of each other, and when a couple guys get hot, then the next thing you know, it's just amazing that it could happen that way, and it does in sports.
And you know what happens is, are they this team over the last 9 games? No. Are they the #1 offense in the American League? Probably not. The answer is usually somewhere in the middle, and you find that out when the truth of 162 games reveals itself.
Yeah.
Another 0-2 pitch. Hoskins grounds it into the defense. Renjifo. 2 out.
Heard a statement that was made that, you know, when you break it down, it's pretty simple. Every team's typically going to win 62 and lose 62, or win 60 and lose 60. It's the middle 42 games that are going to tell the difference.
2 up, 2 down in this 4th inning, and here is Bryce Harper. Walked in the 1st inning, struck out in the 3rd. Two home runs last night, 12 on the season. First one from Lorenzen is away for ball 1. Big rip at a high fastball, and it's 1-1.
That's one of the things. You can't make a mistake in, you can't make a mistake down with Harper. You can expand the zone up, but small room for error.
Against the reigning MVP in the National League, Bryce Harper watches it fade way outside, ball 2.
It was against Joe Maddon 100 years ago, it seemed like, that he intentionally walked Harper so many times. Harper goes on that funk after that, right? And started chasing, getting him Boy, he's a different player now. So much more complete.
Good change. 2-2.
But everyone wanted to look to that moment and go, was that what got him in the funk? I mean, he walked him and absorbing him. I said, I'm not letting this guy beat me, and he's just going to take a base. It was really Madden that was responsible really for kind of the first shift when Ken Griffey Jr. back when he was a bench coach, and they shifted Ken Griffey Jr.
Got him with a high fastball, and Michael Lorenzen has retired 10 of the last 11 after 8 of the first 10 reach. His offense trying to get him back in the game. Top of the order coming up. That means Mike Trout batting third.
Every time he steps up to the plate, goes into his windup, or runs one down.
He caught it! Oh, you won't see a better one than that!
He competes not only against the other team, but against the toughest adversary, himself. MLB Tonight, where the best outdo their best on MLB Network.
Join Kevin Millar.
I'm just a dude that loves baseball.
And Steven Nelson.
I'm nervous as hell, man.
On a quest for legends worthy of the sacred prize.
You thought I lost my mind, but
it's unpredictable baseball coverage that will have you on the edge of your seat all season long.
So keep it locked here on MLB Network all day.
Swing into action and join the adventure on Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
Let's watch some baseball.
Michael Lorenzen has been exceptional since that 5-run first inning where he didn't look anything like himself, but just one base runner over the last 3. Angels offense trying to get going against a tough customer. Zack Wheeler, top of the order. Matt Duffy grounds the first one to Bohm, knocks it down, sticks with it, and gets it. Much maligned third baseman of the Phillies, Alec Bohm, is able to recover after he was unable to pick it cleanly. 1 pitch, 1 out.
Yeah, that's a really good play here. He gets down, knocks it down. Now this is where it could have got a little hairy. You go grab the ball and pick it up. Sometimes you stab at that ball and miss it a couple times. I'm telling you, I think he's going to be a beloved player here. Got to learn a couple things and get a couple things checked in, but I like him a lot as a fierce competitor.
One away in this 5th inning. Shohei Ohtani, who came into the game hitting 133 in his last 10, has reached both times. Has not put up the same kind of numbers that he did during his MVP season, but in talking to Joe Madden, he made the good point that can you expect him to? I mean, what he did last year, there is no comparison. And there is no standard other than the one he keeps setting. It was incredible. 46 home runs on the mound. He was 9-2 with a 3.18 ERA. Against that, this doesn't look as good, but taken in a vacuum, it's still amazing what he's doing.
People don't understand. It's just, think about every day he's got something to think about. And when both aspects of a bad start with some slumping hitting, that can't be a great place to be, but at the same time, you're dividing your attention between both. And so to do this as long as he's done it, I mean, it's exceeded what I thought would be possible, and I just give him all the credit in the world. I don't know what his shelf life for this kind of dual roles. I'd give it 3 more years before something really suffers from the other. That, you know, you're taking away each day a little bit from the craft of greatness. Let me just say this, and I think it's the strongest statement I can make about him. If he never hit again and concentrated on only pitching, he's Jacob deGrom in the American League. And I think, you know, people go, wow, that might be, how could you say that? Well, Jacob deGrom's only pitching. Yeah, he hit when he was in the National League, no DH. You think he cared that much about hitting and preparing and taking BP? No, he was trying to, he proved that he's the best pitcher in the National League for a period of time when he's healthy. This guy's raking, hitting homers, going to meetings, looking at video constantly every day. Oh, by the way, got to throw a side session, might pitch here in 3 days. And that's my point of how gifted he is on the arm side, on the mound. But collectively, we awe on what he's done together.
He's reached all 3 times tonight. Brings up Mike Trout. And he's been called the modern day Babe Ruth. But to your point about longevity, Babe Ruth was only close to a true two-way player. And we're obviously comparing apples to oranges here, generations. But for 2 years, Ohtani has already exceeded Babe Ruth in two-way longevity.
He has. The only caveat would be he's been hurt for 2 years on the mound a little bit, or year plus. So he's got freshness in that arm, and he's got the ability. He's got wipe-out stuff that he hasn't even been able to tap into because of part-time duty. And again, I know the contract led him to do this, signing with the Angels. I thought it was a disadvantage, like it was unfair to him to throw him into the Lions' den right away and do both. Well, he proved a lot of people wrong. He did get hurt, and now he's come back. You take out what, 3 Yankee starts?
Yeah,
and
you're right.
A little bit of a different ballgame. He's had his struggles there pitching.
Trout behind 0-2. Ohtani trying to pull himself out of his slump. Making strides on that tonight, reaching all 3 times. Trout trying to do the same. Struck out his first time. Bounced into a fielder's choice his second time. And has matched the longest offer of his major league career. For his last 21.
Yeah, you don't see this very often, and Wheeler's trying to take advantage of it. You rarely see fastball after fastball after fastball. I got a guy that's a great fastball hitter, and timing being the issue we already talked about. He's been trying to climb the ladder and get him a little bit up in the zone to see if he can get another swing and a miss.
Another fastball, and it got him. And it's the longest offer of Mike Trout's career. He's over his last 22.
Well, pitchers enjoy it while you can, because when he turns it around, gets that foot down, and the timing's different, you're not getting a lot of those baseballs back.
It's jarring to watch.
Yeah, you could. I mean, he's human,
right?
Right?
You just never see it.
You never see it, and it looks a little lost at the plate with the mechanics, and you can tell good advanced scouting, good part on the Phillies, just kind of staying and powering the ball until he makes you change.
Jared Walsh with a bullet down the line that's going to scoot its way to the corner, sending Ohtani on the move. Castellanos over to dig it out. Ohtani trying to score from first. He will on a ringing double from Jared Walsh, who's knocked in both for the Angels. It's 5-2. That thing was blistered.
It was, and long strides of Castellanos didn't get over there in time. That's the nightmare of 2 outs. You're going on the crack of the bat, and of course Ohtani can fly. Well, when this ball was hit as hard as it was, I didn't think it had a chance to score. Ohtani, even though they're in this big shift, right? That ball kind of comes right back to him, and at this point I thought, oh, maybe, and then I watched Ohtani get around the bags, and no chance.
Part of the wonder of Shohei Ohtani. He can hit it as hard as Aaron Judge, he can throw it as fast as Garrett Cole, he can run as fast as Cody Bellinger. So 5-2 game. Walsh at second with 2 gone for Max Stassi, who's had a nice weekend, leading the Angels with 3 hits in the 2 games. Really a continuation of what he's done since missing some time on the COVID IL. Last 9 games, and that corresponds with him returning. He's hitting close to 400. 10-year veteran. Really an established guy, though, for the first time. Signed a 3-year contract prior to the season. And he was seeing a lot of time the last couple of years, but has that stability now with a 3-year, $17 million contract. One-time big prospect in the Astros organization. He was labeled a 4A player. He's finally arrived here in his early 30s. He's in a 1-2 hole against Wheeler.
Paint fastball away, just 2 in a row. He again vulnerable to the fastball up. He's done a nice job staying off of breaking balls out of the zone, but the fastball up has been a tough thing for him to stay off of.
8 Ks all on the hard stuff from Wheeler. On this 1-2, sticks with it, poked to first. Hoskins was positioned perfectly. That's that for the Angels in the 5th, but they get 1 and cut it to 5-2.
Using the old baseball stats only gives you part of the puzzle. But when we challenge ourselves using advanced tools and modern thinking, you'll see the bigger picture.
Challenge all things baseball with MLB Now, only on MLB Network.
Join Kevin Millard.
I'm just a dude that loves baseball.
And Steven Nelson.
I'm nervous as hell, man.
On a quest for legends worthy of the sacred prize.
I thought I lost my mind, but
it's unpredictable baseball coverage that will have you on the edge of your seat all season long.
So keep it locked here on MLB Network all day.
Swing into action and join the adventure on Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
Let's watch some baseball.
When he gave up 5, but he's given up just 1 base runner in the 3 innings since then. Goes to work against the heart of the Phillies lineup. Nick Castellanos takes strike 1.
I'm telling you, it's a night and day pitcher. I mean, I know you could say that obviously because of the statistics, but I'm talking mechanically and just the way he's throwing the ball. Free and easy as if he's got the 5-2 lead. You can go one of 2 ways when a situation happens in the first inning. You can go the heck with it. I don't care what happens. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. And sometimes that works and you find some things. I think the biggest thing that the pitchers learned and that I learned, that every game you could learn something. Like, don't put your head down. Don't throw in the towel. Learn something. Figure it out. Write your note down. This is what happened in the first inning. Avoid that for the next, for whatever reason. We got stats on everything, but some guys come out of the gate and just don't click in right away. And you talked about one of his highest earned run averages in the first inning.
Yeah. Were you a note taker, journaler
Yes.
about your?
Yeah, I still am. Still do it in golf. Like when I play in a tournament, I didn't like the way I felt here or this or that, because it's the only way to reinforce and take notes on when things are going good. The tendency is to not think about anything. You hear people go, "Oh, I'm in a zone," because I don't even think of it. The ball looks huge. Well, what happens then if you're not taking notes, that when it's not and you're going bad.
It's a bad chase from Castellanos. One gone in the 5th. Next Saturday, Baseball Night in America returns on Fox. We will be in New York for an iconic matchup. The Cubs and the Yankees. Others will see Mookie Betts and the Dodgers take on the Giants. Coverage begins next Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox and streaming on the Fox Sports app.
You know, one thing in our sport is no matter what it is, golf, baseball, like for me, I'm taking notes in golf. I wasn't committed down the stretch. I did this, or I didn't like. When you're feeling an emotion and pressure and stress, you need to know what that feels like and what it does to your body. And, you know, this would be a great game for him to look at, not in the first inning, from the second inning on. You just watch that. You don't watch your bad stuff. You don't try to figure out what's going wrong all the time and overcorrect.
Quickly 0-2 on Real Muto. This is who he's been for a lot of the year. Attacks, works quickly, gets ahead, and puts up zeros.
Well, the Angels desperately needed that, along with Syndergaard, and you know they've gotten some unexpected performances from some of their starters. That is the reason why, up into this last stretch of losing.
High fly ball, but playable for Mike Trout.
Well, my note taken tonight is awful on my scorecard.
You're not going to know how to.
I was so good for so long, and I'm enjoying these conversations that I'm writing scores down in the wrong people's.
Well, when you get home, make sure you journal about how much you enjoyed our conversations.
Yes, I will.
So
Definitely do that.
We can do this again. There's Alec Bohm.
And Hoskins, boy, what a great job.
Great.
He was able to help viewers at home get a little inside peek.
Got under foul. Bomo for 2, 1 for his last 26 now.
He needs a stress relief hit.
Yeah.
You know, everyone on his team knows it.
And what is the stress relief hit? That would be any hit.
Yeah. And again, you know, when you've seen your teammates go through things like this, you try your best to try to break it down into smaller chunks and forget about the 1 for 26. Start a new week and try to hit 300 for the week, or try to take each pitch and have quality at bats. But you know what they say about those quality at bats, if they don't end in results. You know, and that's the hard part of our game. It's just such a game of failure that you have to put it in perspective or you'll go crazy. And that right there will make you squeeze the sawdust out of a bat.
Got to that high heater to stay alive. Bohm, who has just always been able to flat out hit. 3rd overall pick of the draft. A 1-2. Got him swinging, and his frustrations continue. Lorenzen's success continues post first inning. Just 1 base runner in the 4 innings since. Back to Philly after this.
Join Kevin Millar.
I'm just a dude that loves baseball.
And Steven Nelson.
I'm nervous as hell, man.
On a quest for legends worthy of the sacred prize.
I thought I lost my mind, but
it's unpredictable baseball coverage that will have you on the edge of your seat all season long.
So keep it locked here on MLB Network all day.
Swing into action and join the adventure on Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
Let's watch some baseball.
Bringing in one of the members of the umpiring crew. Strike one on Brandon Marsh from Zack Wheeler. For the Angels here in the 6th inning, Marsh, Renjifo, Lagares as they try to continue to chip away. They got one in the 3rd. They got one last inning. It's 1-1 on Marsh. Fouled off 1-2.
It's just been a clinic so far tonight on if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Wheeler has stuck to his game plan. He's done his research. He knows what those guys are vulnerable on. You know, he's not trying to trick them, not trying to surprise them. 2 strikes. At some point, he's going to elevate the fastball here to Marsh. He hasn't proven he can hit it yet.
Good. Fouls it off. He'll see another. Geico is donating tickets to honor military members and their families at Major League stadiums around the country through the Geico Seats for Service program. Jimmy White, the 4th, a U.S. Navy veteran, a native of South Philadelphia, is in the house tonight. Thank you to Jimmy and all the men and women that have served our country. There's that high fastball to finish off Marsh. 9 Ks all on the hard stuff for Wheeler.
And that comes from practice and being in tune with your mechanics. You throw a bullpen, you work on this pitch. You can't just all of a sudden throw it because the guy can't hit a fastball up. And the chances of those pitches getting in the middle of the plate if you're not good at it.
Yeah.
So it's part of his game. It's part of what's refined him, collecting the data and the information and balancing what he feels is good at and what the information shows him that he could be good at.
Luis Renjifo watches a change, dive to the knees for a strike. Renjifo got a base hit in the 2nd inning after fouling the ball off his shin. It looked like it was going to be hard to stay in the game. He not just stayed in, but got that base hit and has kept on playing. He's behind 0-2 now.
Another good example of adjusting is, you know, coming into this game, the opponents hadn't hit his slider very well. And tonight, 3 out of 5 against it. And only 8 out of 21 have been strikes, so he's pounded that fastball a lot more.
Slapped off the plate. We'll do it again.
And that's what I miss about a little bit about the way the game's played from a strategy standpoint, because sometimes as a pitcher, when you don't have your A stuff, you got to figure out a way. And right now, the guy on the other side right now is figuring out the other way. Lorenzen's figuring a way. He didn't have his best stuff, and he's found himself in a game now, 5-2 after being down 5-0.
One-two pitch. Wrinkle in that one. It's hit foul.
Just for context,
yeah.
I don't know this statistically, but I bet you it's not very high. We got a chance to see 2 pitchers go through the lineup 3 times in the same game, which doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, and I wonder how often it happens when one of them gives up 5 runs in the 1st inning.
Yeah. So, you know, when you start thinking about doing your homework and how you're going to get through a lineup, it's easy to do it one time. What do you do the 2nd time? And then, you know, all the conversation of, we don't want pitchers to face the hitters the 3rd time because we want a fresher arm coming in. Well, these 2 pitchers have done a nice job mixing and matching and staying with their strengths and not getting too cute with surprises here and there. It's okay every once in a while, but when a guy can't hit something, keep throwing it until he can't hit it.
Well, especially this guy. This is who he's become. Led the league in innings pitched last year. Throwback guy coming home with a 2-2. Count goes full on Renjifo. To 96 pitches now. Here's 3-2. Chopper to 2nd. Camargo gets Renjifo. Time for a game break. Hello again, Kevin Burkhardt. Starting a new streak for a Cardinals team that's won 11 of its last 15 within a game of the Brewers in the division. And that man is front and center in the MVP conversation here in early June. Juan Lagares with the bases empty and 2 away takes a strike.
Here's one of those guys that when he was with the Mets, man, if he could have hit it all, his defense was so good. And now he's having to play that role here with the Angels, trying to play defense and hit a little bit.
Get off me ball. Camargo ends a 1-2-3-6.
I hate when reality.
It's like the hitters know what I'm gonna throw every time.
It's cheating. It's not fair.
Hi, I'm retired MLB pitcher CC Sabathia, and pitchers across America are sad. If I was still pitching, I'd be sad too. But since I'm retired and my son Carson's a hitter, we love win reality.
Yeah, I train in here and get to see game speed pitches, work on my timing, and my pitch recognition. Plus, this pitcher doesn't get tired like...
Watch yourself.
Want to know what other guys are saying about RexMD.com?
This was my first time using telemedicine, and I'd recommend this process to anyone. The total experience was amazing. I couldn't be happier with the product.
Here's how RexMD.com works. Just fill out a brief survey, and if appropriate, you can try a starter pack of generic Viagra, which are currently available to new customers. Your consultation is free. There's no copays, no doctor office visits, and your shipping is always free. RexMD.com is now offering starter packs of generic Viagra. Visit RexMD.com.
Hey, it's me, the summer breeze. I just flew back into town. Let's get outside. Much better.
Siri. Astros have the best record in baseball over the last month and a 7-game lead over the Angels. Bottom third of the order, Lorenzen gets strike one on Bryson Stott, and this has been some kind of impressive outing from Michael Lorenzen after giving up 5 runs in the first inning, 1 base runner since. Here's 0-1 to Stott. Grounded gently to second. Over there in the shift, Velasquez. 6 at 4-3, 1 gone. So Joe Madden sending him back out there for this 6th inning against sort of his hometown team. Joe's from a short drive from here in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. Grew up surrounded by Phillies fans, but grew up a Cardinals fan himself. So when he was 9 years old, his dad took him to Yankee Stadium, July 22nd, 1963. Didn't really have a team quite yet. The Yankees played the White Sox. Al Downing pitched the Yankees to a 3-0 win. Tom Tresh robbed a home run. He has a vivid memory of that, finishing the game. Walked down onto the field, the old Yankee Stadium. You'd go out through center field. So they walk out there through Monument Park, and there's the vendors outside under the train. And there's a hat stand, and his dad said, "Son, pick out a hat." And he gets eyes wide, and he looks up there at all the different choices. And this navy blue and red Cardinals hat just looks so cool to Joe. So he said, "I want that one." And because of that hat, he became a Cardinals fan.
That's pretty cool. I remember collecting, hats and all the different cool looking baseball team.
He said he remembers that often, remembers that day often now for obvious reasons, but also he says anytime he interacts with a young kid, he said you never know when it could be a meaningful experience for him. You might make them an Angels fan just by a nice interaction. Wasn't just a Cardinals fan, but he went all in on the St. Louis thing. He was a St. Louis Blues fan. Fouled into the glove. Stays at 2-2 on Camargo. Even a Slew fan, a Billiken guy.
If I remember correctly, though, wasn't he pretty good quarterback back in his day? Right, like pretty good athlete, pretty good quarterback. Joe Namath. I know he's gotten to know Joe Namath a little bit, but.
A strikeout of Camargo. Lorenzen keeps on rolling for him.
Joe can speak to you in an array of topics, and he's a very interesting guy. And when you sit back and you really get to know what's behind we call it the madness or the Joe Madden way that started in Tampa, right, with the Rays and all the different things, the Zoo Day, the this day. It's not an act that you just put on because you can. He really believes that the course of a 162 has so many moments and is long. He's just trying to break it up for his players, try to get them to be as loose and enjoy the game as much as possible.
1 ball, no strikes on Mickey Moniak. One of his players, Michael Lorenzen, has a new career high 9 strikeouts.
Gonna tell you what, his facial feature and his body language hasn't changed. Can't say that about a lot of pitchers who had given up 5 in the first.
I guess one way to look at it after that inning is like, what do I have to lose at this point?
I know there's definitely rare emotions that go through you, and it's easier to just chalk this up as a bad day in 1 2/3. But when your starter the day before goes 1 2/3 or whatever they did, this is picking up the entire staff by logging these kind of innings. And you just watch what Joe Madden does when he goes out there, and watch how quickly he's going to do it.
Going to bring on Aaron Loop for Kyle Schwarber. Much appreciated, that effort from Michael Lorenzen for the Angels, and Joe Madden digs deep after giving up 5 in the first. Nothing to this point.
I wish I could try these glasses on first.
Here, step into the future where everything is possible. Welcome. Here you can try on Warby Parker glasses using only your phone.
Really? Wow, I like it here.
And I like these. You can stay, but I'll need my phone.
Okay.
Just shop prescription glasses starting at $95 and virtually try them on in the Warby Parker app.
get video highlights, live pitch by pitch, breaking news, player updates, stat leaderboards, and more for your favorite team and the rest of the league. And suit up this summer at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Outfit the whole family with your favorite team's gear at MLBshop.com. Who knows? Maybe you buy them a hat and they become a fan of that team for their whole life. Michael Lorenzen goes 5 2/3, hands the ball off to Aaron Loop, who was fantastic last year for the New York Mets. Was great this year to begin for the Angels, but he has had a really hard time lately. Strike one on Kyle Schwarber.
Hard to believe Schwarber's got a higher batting average against lefties than he does righties, but this guy against lefties is tough to hit. I mean, the angle he throws this ball, he's throwing it from behind you. If you're standing in the box and trying to pick up the ball, he's throwing behind you.
Hold!
Brogdon in hand, both warming for the Phillies.
Every time I see the Phillies bullpen.
Line to center field. Might have to hold that thought unless it's a fast one. Okay.
No, next inning.
All right. So the book closed on Lorenzen. Just those 5 first-inning runs. Stays in the game and gives his team a shot.
Hey kids, join MLB Network and your favorite players for a show made just for you. Play ball. It's all the big moments, bat flips, and amazing plays from an exciting week of baseball and tips to up your game. Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network.
I got the mic today. I got the mic. You got the mic. I got the mic today.
Mom, I'm sorry if you hear anything that is said tonight. I apologize. I love you. I haven't talked to you in a few days.
Lo tuyo es rolling, olvídate de los fly. Dame los fly a mí, lo tuyo es para abajo. Le voy a decir a la gente que me ponga el micrófono todos los días. Claro.
Angels got one in the 3rd, one in the 5th. And here we go to the late innings and into the Phillies bullpen. Brad Hand replaces Zack Wheeler.
Brad Hand, famous for that slider that he could throw anytime, and late breaking slider.
On to face 9-1-2. Velasquez leads things off. And a 5-2 game in the 7th. All right, so every time you see the Phillies bullpen.
Yeah, when the field was first built, of course, you know, the dimensions are what they are, but the bullpen was not what it was. The top part of the bullpen used to be the Phillies. And the reason it's not the Phillies is you see those fans up there? When things aren't going well, they're in your ear, and you can hear everything, and they quickly realize, you know what, this is better to be down below and let the visitors deal with the wrath of the fans, and the switch was made.
But you know what they forgot to do the first night? Switch the phone lines. So they had to use hand signals the first night after they changed it, because The home manager calls down and he gets the visiting bullpen, and vice versa.
Yeah, it's been a few hot closer days down there when the fan, you can hear everything they're saying. You don't want to, but it's inevitable. They're right there.
What you said, John, before we went to break, it could be a fun exercise for Phillies fans. You said every time I see the Phillies bullpen, I think fill in the blank.
Fill in the blank, yeah. Yeah, it's been a rough go, and this year's team should be much better in the pen. They've added guys like this and Familia and, you know, Knebel. I mean, this is going to be a much better bullpen statistically when the year's over. I really believe that. But when the narrative, I've always believed when you leave spring training, you know what the narrative is. Your goal is to not get them to talk about that narrative past the All-Star break or even close to it, which means you've handled that. Leaving spring training, you know what your weaknesses and strengths are. And leaving spring training, you see the number here, 14 blown leads again. That's something that you don't want to talk about when the last couple years have been that's been the undoing of this franchise, why they finished so poorly and haven't made the playoffs.
Velasquez flies one to right center field. Castellanos is there for the first out. One of the things Joe Girardi took some heat for was the way he managed the bullpen. He had a rule of thumb where early on in the season, and he's done this his entire managerial career, and for a lot of the time it's worked out for him, but he wouldn't use guys 3 days in a row. There was one game in particular in Atlanta where he didn't use his closer Corey Knebel. It would have been a 3rd day in a row. His stuff had been diminished a couple days before that, but it left him open to criticism when they lost the game late. Thompson says that he is not going to have any hard and fast rules, which would suggest that he'd be open to using a guy 3 days in a row if the situation called for it.
Yeah, I think the problem in our game today a little bit is we've fallen in love with too much information to be the gauge and barometer of which you never change. That, to me, needs to be adjusted with balance. What I mean by that is
Duffy grounds it to Bohm. 2 out.
If all of this information and all of this stuff was preventing injuries, you'd never hear anybody say a word. But it's not preventing injuries. Matter of fact, it's going the other way. So the stuff about limit pitches, limit innings, and this is all geared towards this is how we get players to be more successful and injury-free. So the fact that not everybody should be treated the same, I agree. Some pitchers cannot pitch 3 games in a row, but some are more conducive for their stuff being even better if you let that be available for your eyes, and to each their own. You treat guys according to what they got. So Joe stuck with it, and to his credit, you know, for the most part, never deviated from it, and had a pretty good bullpen when he was in New York. It's a little difficult and different when you're not blessed with those guys, and you come to a club that is not known for that.
1 ball, no strikes on Shohei Ohtani. And look, somebody had to bear the brunt of it, but Joe Girardi wasn't responsible for the team not being able to catch the ball.
No.
And he's not responsible for the relievers that he can call on.
The thing that I think, though, you just know they're going to hit more.
Yep.
This is a byproduct. Their record, you know, we showed the 14 blown leads, but, you know, they're going to be more consistently offensively, which is going to help the decisions when you think about who you bring in and who to preserve a game when games get out of hand or don't. So I think offensively they can pick up the slack.
2-1 on Ohtani.
But another old rule that comes to roost in baseball, it's been forever. If you don't have a guy in your pen that you go to every time, you're going to struggle from time to time if everyone tries to take a piece of that. Because inevitably it's like, oh, it's my turn now. I'll be the guy. No, you want a guy. He's the guy in the 9th for the most part throughout the year, and everybody else fills in the roles, because the last 3 outs are the most important and the hardest to get on a consistent basis. And you can't have a ton of interchangeable parts to get that done.
2-2 from Hand. Ohtani waits on a breaker. Warm burner to first. Hoskins feeds Hand, who beats Ohtani to the bag. It ends a 1-2-3 7th. We stretch in a 5-2 game on Baseball Night in America.
Using the old baseball stats only gives you part of the puzzle. But when we challenge ourselves using advanced tools and modern thinking, you'll see the bigger picture.
Challenge all things baseball with MLB Now, only on MLB Network.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jackie Robinson searching home run into the left field stands.
Here comes Roger Maris. There's a new home run champion of all time. I don't believe what I just saw.
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
This crowd on its feet and in unison.
This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza! The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
Number 600 for Jim Thome. That ball is gone.
106. That would be a new record.
It is caught. Oh, what a catch by Mike Trout. The Cubs have finally won it all. The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
Telecast is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above. Superstars galore this weekend in Philadelphia. The three-time MVP Mike Trout for the Angels. Reigning MVP in the National League Bryce Harper for the Phillies, who will bat second in this inning. 5-2 Philadelphia. Rhys Hoskins against Aaron Loup takes ball one. And those two guys have been compared to each other for a long, long time. They came up right about the same time. Rookie of the Year the same year.
All right, I got a great question for you.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to put you a little bit on the hot seat. Really, not really, but okay. It's just, if you had to guess who's going to win a championship first between those two, what would you say? Obviously, there's no wrong answer, but it's just.
I think both answers are wrong answers because half the people are going to hate me.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to play each other one day.
That would be part of the answer.
In the World Series that we get to call, and we'll find out then. No, it's definitely interesting to see how the clubs have been built.
Hoskins down swinging.
You know. And it's definitely going to be more exciting when a Trout and Ohtani get to the playoffs.
I'll say this, as you look at the comparison between Trout and Harper, and those guys, first round picks 1 year apart, debuted 1 year apart, both won Rookie of the Year in 2012. 3 MVPs for Trout, 2 for Harper, 1 with the Nats, and then the 1 last year with the Phillies. But Mike Trout's played in 3 postseason games, lost them all. Bryce Harper has never won a postseason series.
Who wins a series first? Forget the World Series.
I'm going to say the Angels.
Okay.
And I think the Angels need to be in the postseason. Yeah. Baseball needs Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani to be on the big stage. I think it'd be great for the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I really still, again, maybe I'm the glass half full guy for the Philadelphia Phillies when they went and signed Harper and tried to put some pieces around them and him to get to the playoffs. But I'll say it again. Either of these teams can just get there. There's been enough proof that teams get hot at the right time, like the Atlanta Braves did last year and the Washington Nationals not too long ago. So getting to the tournament, you never know.
And you got that 1 extra spot now, the 3rd wild card. And look, say the Phillies get in, You want to face Zack Wheeler game 1, Aaron Nola game 2 in this lineup?
No.
No. So I love you too, Phillies. (3-0) on Harper. This is how they stack up through almost same amount of games in their careers. They are in a group, very small handful group of players. Look, Trout's in his own universe, but they're among the top 5 players in the game. 3-1.
And he's going through something not a lot of people have ever got to see. You know, a stretch right now where game is not as easy. It's not coming to him as easy. He's in a swing and miss mode, a little bit mechanical funk at the plate.
All 4. Harper takes the walk here. Second free pass of the night for him.
0 for 22. Doesn't seem possible.
And talking about the Angels going to the postseason, not possible without Mike Trout being Mike Trout, which you figure he will be again in not too long. Archie Bradley going to come in and replace Aaron Loop in a 5-2 game in the 7th.
Using the old baseball stats only gives you part of the puzzle. But when we challenge ourselves using advanced tools and modern thinking, you'll see the bigger picture.
Challenge all things baseball with MLB Now, only on MLB Network.
It is gone!
Every time he steps up to the plate, goes into his windup, or runs one down.
He caught it! Oh, you won't see a better one than that!
He competes not only against the other team, but against the toughest adversary, himself. MLB Tonight, where the best outdo their best on MLB Network.
MVPs. That is a small group of guys that have done that and then have faced off. That is ball 1 on Nick Castellanos from Archie Bradley, who missed a month with an abdominal injury. Hasn't given up a run, at least hasn't been charged with a run in his last 6 games, although he gave up the game-winning hit to Anthony Rizzo the other night. Grounder up the middle. To the bag goes Renjifo. That is a double play. And it takes Bradley only 2 pitches to get the 2 outs.
From inside jokes.
Hey, look, it's Mike Napafanakis.
To insiders' perspectives.
I like over 5.5 strikeouts on Walker Buehler.
Your best bet is the pregame spread. Served up only on MLB Network.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Jackie Robinson searching home run into the left field stand.
Here comes Roger Maris. There's a new home run champion of all time.
I don't believe what I just saw.
Cal Ripken Jr. has reached the unreachable star.
This crowd on its feet and in unison.
This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza!
The Boston Red Sox are
welcome to the first night of MLB Network.
Number 600 for Jim Thome. That ball is gone.
106. That would be a new record.
It is caught. Oh, what a catch by Mike Trout. The Cubs have finally won it all. The Atlanta Braves are world champions.
Two Phils, top of the 8th. Mike Trout to lead off for the Angels. In time for our Liberty Mutual player profile on Jersey Mike. Raised 46 miles from Philly in Millville, New Jersey. 29th or 25th overall pick. To high school there. Debuted in 2011. This is the second time that he's played in Philly. Played here in 2014. And all kinds of folks making the trip up from Millville. He'll face Sir Anthony Dominguez, who pours in 99, and this guy has he's one of the guys that gives you some hope for that Phillies pen.
He does. Great walk to strikeout. That's what you want out of your bullpen guys. You don't want that walks creeping up close to your strikeouts. And electric stuff.
Missed almost 2 full years after undergoing Tommy John, so they've been cautious in the way they've used him for good reason, bringing him back slowly. He's got that 183 ERA overall. He's given up just 1 run over his last 15 games. And he's facing Trout in the longest offer of his career.
Oh, no.
At 0 for 22. Walsh and Stassi to follow. Angels looking at a 10th consecutive loss. Trailed this game 5-0 after 1. 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th. Down to their last 6 outs. 2-2 on Trout.
As we talked about in the beginning of the game, a lot of pressure on the top of the order, right? This part of the order has been what gets the meat of the production.
A swing and a miss on a ball that gets to the backstop, and Real Muto throws it down. 3rd Mike Trout strikeout of the game. A game break. Hello again, Kev. How about that? We'll have the Cubs next weekend at Yankee Stadium. 1 gone here in the 8th. Jared Walsh has had a good game. He's knocked in both runs for the Angels. Singled in the 3rd. And had a 108-mile-per-hour double in the 5th. One 100 from Dominguez. Part of the hardest throwing bullpen in baseball.
3-6-3-1-3.
And here's the thing, especially in this ballpark. If your bullpen guys come in and give up hits, that's one thing. You can live with that. You know, solo home run here. But your bullpen's got to come in and not execute a big inning with like 30 pitches and a couple walks and create the mess that ultimately feeds the rallies for other teams. And if they can stay away from that, they're going to be fine. It should be a motto of every bullpen. And I'm not making it this simple, but whatever's going to happen is going to happen quick. You're either going to save it quick or blow it quick. And what that means is you're basically giving up hits to do that. You're not walking the world in great long innings.
And that has been the biggest issue for them. They have the highest walk rate in baseball, the Phillies bullpen.
Yeah, they just can't survive that on a nightly basis.
And the staff talking about it, their biggest focus right now is strike one. So they have one of the lowest strike one rates in baseball.
And you know what? Unless the game's one run every time you come in, then that's not as important as a quality first pitch, because you know anybody in the game can hit a home run and tie the game up. So it's the 2-run leads, the 3-run leads that if a guy gets a single, so what? In a 3 or 2-run lead, now you're a pitch away from a double play. But if he gets a walk, you feel like you've just gifted him something. And you know, people ask me all the time, how'd you transition from? My simplest goal was strike one, get the first guy out. That's it. And then do that every next hitter that comes up there and make it as simple as possible, instead of got to pitch around this guy, or got to be careful, or can't, you know, you're definitely not laying one in there.
One ball, 2 strikes on Max Stassi.
I feel like I need to get something off my chest next inning. So it's kind of it'll be a freeing moment. It's kind of a tease for those that are tuning in. And next inning, I'm gonna free myself up with something.
What a cliffhanger.
It's been too long. Need to come to grips.
Can't wait.
He might want to know. Speaking of which, that team's playing tonight, trying to buck a trend that's been going on all year. They haven't won 3 in a row. They haven't lost 3 in a row all year. Only team.
Oh, crazy! How do you not run into one?
Hey. The oddities of baseball and the crazy streaks of things that you just could never predict.
Pirates were the only other team that hadn't won 3 straight. They went and won 3 straight at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah. Stassi hits a ball to left center field. Trout on the move, or Moniak on the move, and it's over his head, and that's a double for Stassi. Back-to-back 2-hit games for him. Keeps this 8th inning going. NASCAR fans, you've got a chance to win $5,000 of Clint Boyer's cash tomorrow. Scan the QR code now. Download the Super 6 app and enter your picks in the NASCAR Stage 2 contest for tomorrow's race. It's free to play. Just download the Super 6 app and enter now. Strikeout, strikeout, and then double. And now Brandon Marsh, who struck out all 3 times against Zack Wheeler. The Angels trying to put the pressure on against likely Corey Knebel in the 9th inning. Dominguez deals. Marsh takes a ball. If they could find a way to come back and win this game from down 5-0.
Oh, my.
That's not just snapping a 9-game losing streak. That's maybe turning your season around. Fly the other way. Unable to get home the 2-out double. Easy play for Schwarber. And in the top of the 8th.
Join Kevin Millard.
I'm just a dude that loves baseball.
And Steven Nelson.
I'm nervous as hell, man.
On a quest for legends worthy of the sacred prize.
You thought I lost my mind, but
it's unpredictable baseball coverage that will have you on the edge of your seat all season long.
So keep it locked here on MLB Network all day.
Swing into action and join the adventure on Intentional Talk, only on MLB Network.
Let's watch some baseball.
Yeah.
John, May 27, 1990. In the 9th inning, you've got a no-hitter going against the Phillies when Lenny Dykstra doubled to break it up.
Yeah, and the backstory of that, learning to try to get my routine. I hadn't eaten that day. I was starving. I had to get something in the bottom of the 8th, and I owe it all to the breakup of the no-hitter of a Zagnut bar. And the Zagnut was the only thing I saw in the Phillies clubhouse. I went, I ate it, and 1 out later in the 9th, the no-hitter was broken. And I'm here to say that I haven't had a Zagnut since. I feel like we're here in Philadelphia, right? And I'm about to unveil something that I never thought I would do after this batter. So that's the backstory, and I'll finish it up after we get it out here.
JT Real Muto leading off the 8th with the Phillies up 5-2. They got all 5 runs in the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. I'll be honest, before you told me that story the first time, I'd never heard of a Zagnut bar. Are they good? Like, do you remember it tasting good? Are you
it
excited
didn't
for
matter
this?
at that time.
Sure.
I was starving, and when I say starving, I misinterpreted what a veteran pitcher told me about his routine of getting ready to pitch. It was a day game, obviously, and he said, look, I'd like to pitch when about, I don't know, by the time the game comes around, I want to be on an empty stomach. Well, it's a 1 o'clock game. I mean, what am I going to do? Get up at 6 a.m. and eat? So I figured, well, I just won't eat. Wow. And then it was pretty warm. And by the time the 6th and 7th rolled around, I mean, I'm starving, and I'm kind of like, I need something. And I held out to the 8th. And I went in. They didn't have kind of the cuisine and the food that exists today. And I went up on the shelf, grabbed the first thing I looked at. It was a Zagnut. Ripped open the package, ate it, felt like I had something that I could go out to the 9th with. And I obviously was wrong. I should have probably dehydrated myself and tried to get the no-hitter.
You said it was a hot day?
Well, you know, sunny, and certainly.
Fly the other way by Real Muto. All you got to do is talk about Zagnuts, and bad things happen to the pitcher. A double for Real Muto. Are you ready to heal?
I'm ready to heal. All right, so, you know, our staff, our producer, they got the Zagnut for me. And when I say I've never had one, I've never had one. And it's time to end it here in Philadelphia. Zagnut no more. It's over.
Happy. You have
I want you to take this home and maybe show your kids what a Zagnut is. Yeah.
It looks so, it's kind of like wafery.
Like a Butterfinger with a little bit of texture.
Have you heard of a Zagnut bar? Maybe I'm the only one, but Zagnut ruined a no-hitter.
Sure did.
But made a night tonight. Real Muto's 3rd double of the game. A little bit like a Butterfinger, huh?
For sure.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your bite of the Zagnut. It's like a Butterfinger without the chocolate shell.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. 1-0 on Bohm. Phillies looking for some insurance here. In the 9th inning, the Angels have the bottom part of the order against Corey Knebel. Assuming the score stays here, Phillies add on. We'll see who comes in. Bohm 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for his last 27. We've seen him extra frustrated at PitchCom having some issues. Connor Brogdon, just in case they add a couple, maybe even one would do the trick. Shift it to Brogdon, perhaps the first real decision that Rob Thompson has to make. Two 2-0. Come out.
Now, these situations as a hitter and an offense, of course, again, I don't know how many games have ever been played where the only runs that are scored in the first inning in team one. We were talking about that in the break, but boy, an add-on run here would be huge for the psyche of their pen, and certainly the crowd would like to see some more. But 5 runs in the first, nothing coming here into the 8th.
Well, that Real Muto double was only their second hit since that first inning. And they had 4 hits, 3 walks, and scored those 5 runs. Strike 1 on Bohm. It's interesting. I mean, tonight is kind of the whole season in one game.
Yeah. Flashes
of this booming offense, but then silence. Last night was the 10th time that they've scored 8 or more runs, but they've also had 11 games where they've scored 0 or 1. Ground ball punched the other way. That will move the runner over. Renjifo gets Bohm.
And I'm telling you, watch the dugout when he comes in. He's one for his last forever. But that at bat right there is appreciated because he gets a runner at third base now closer to scoring, even though he didn't get a hit.
That's the kind of move that'll earn you a lot of respect.
Yeah, definitely. You could be up there trying to get yours, and now if they're able to drive this run in, that really there should be categories. I've always said there should be categories for an assist to a run based on the previous hitter, right? Like
strike on Bryson Stott. Infield in for the Angels. Big run standing down there at third.
Yeah, the only buddy on the shortstop side is the umpire. So a ground ball there gets a run in easy.
Good stop by Max Stassi. 1 ball, 1 strike. Phillies trying to get their 3rd consecutive win after the 5-game losing streak. And trying to hand the Angels their 10th consecutive loss. Ball 2 on Stott. This would be only the 2nd losing streak of 10 games or more this century for the Angels.
And you know what's weird is, again, you never know what game can turn it around for any team in baseball. But the Phillies were up big against the Giants. Giants came back and took the lead. If the Phillies don't win that game, you wonder what happens, right? And they win that game. And, at least a better feeling, and they've rolled it into a potential 3-game winning streak. You need those games. You need that momentum to carry over day in and day out. And right now, the Angels don't have that momentum. Right? They're coming to the park looking to shake hands after a game that they never thought would take this long.
3 balls, 1 strike. Bradley deals. Stott takes ball 4, and they're at the corners. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Hyundai and the 2022 Tucson and Santa Fe plug-in hybrid EVs. Now by Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. Joe Madden coming out. That's going to do it for Archie Bradley. Trying to keep it a 5-2 game here in the 8th.
There's more to baseball than just the game.
Who's the biggest jokester in that clubhouse?
MLB Network's Off Base, the show that talks about baseball and everything around it.
The sky's the limit. That's why we love this sport.
Off Base, only on MLB Network.
There's something about a park. The swings, the slides, the dogs. You can throw your food and wear it proudly. It's where showing off is encouraged, even if it doesn't always work out.
So, you in?
It is showtime!
Baseball Night in America returns on Fox. The Cubs and the Yankees, or others will see the Dodgers and the Giants with coverage starting next Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox and streaming on the Fox Sports app. Phillies got all 5 runs in the first inning. They've gotten 3 doubles tonight from JT Realmuto, and Zack Wheeler leaned on his fastball, struck out 9 over 6 innings. So a big night for JT Realmuto. His resurgence has continued. Camargo knocked in a pair in that 5-run first inning. And Mickey Moniak drove in his first run of the year. On the mound for the Angels, a youngster that has seen a bigger and bigger, higher and higher leverage role, Oliver Ortega. He gave up a couple runs his last time out of Yankee Stadium, but they're very encouraged with what they have here.
Basically 2-pitch, fastball, curveball. Running up there 96 miles an hour.
Camargo takes ball. Oh! Big run. Standing out there at third for the Phillies. Camargo, who's 1 for 3 today with that 2-run single in the first. Goes up to get it. Pops it straight up and out of play. And it's 1-1.
You know, with the new effort of hitting philosophy, double plays and ground balls are dying because most players are trying to hit the ball not off the ground, but up in the air. And so you ideally in these situations want to try to, you would think, you entice a double play. But the next best thing other than a strikeout is to pitch the ball up and get a pop-up that doesn't go far enough to get a sac fly. But teaching guys to hit the ball in the air versus on the ground.
Off the glove of Stassi, but Realmuto didn't get a great read on it. Stott gets second. And he'll just catch a break there.
You handled that play on words really well right there.
What did I do?
Well, he had Stassi to Stat to second to Stott. Like I wouldn't have been. He nailed it.
Just can't think about it, man. Just got to let it flow out of you. You know how it goes. It's a wild pitch, so second and third now. And a 2-1 count on the first-year Philly, Johan Camargo. That's into right field and down. Base hit. 1 run is in. Here comes Stott. Throw home. Not quite in time. 2-run single, Johan Camargo, who's knocked in 4 tonight.
Well, he was clutch with the Braves in that stint that he had, trying to fill in, and came up clutch again here in the 8th inning. Took a fastball away and had just beautiful hitting. Just stayed on the ball, made sure he got it, lifted it up, guaranteed 1 run, ended up getting 2 runs because of awesome read by Stott. And then, of course, the throw in by Laguerre just a little bit too high.
Couple big runs for the Phils, given everything they've dealt with in the bullpen this year. 7-2. They get their first run since the first inning. And now Mickey Moniak takes the ball. Moniak was the first overall pick in 2016. Struggled to get things going his first couple years in the minors. He played in 8 games in the majors in 2020. Last year he played in 21 games and went 3 for 33 with 16 strikeouts, but was one of the stars of spring training. They moved him up on top of the plate, much closer to the plate than he'd ever been. He hit 6 home runs. He was ready to break camp as the guy in center field, and then on the last day of spring training he broke his hand. So he missed the first 2 months. Debuted on Monday, and then after a couple offers in his first 2 games, a hit in each of the last 2.
And you don't know how much of the hand injury in that, but the abbreviated book so far in his short career is the fastball. He hasn't been able to hit the fastball. Now he did that in spring training, which got everybody excited because he hasn't handled the fastball in the big leagues to this point at a level where you think you get a little more consistency.
2-2. Out of La Costa Canyon High School in California. The center field has been a trouble spot for the Phillies for a while. So they're hoping that Moniak at least can hold things down defensively there, stabilize the outfield defense a little bit. And he watches strike 3 on a curve. An easier decision now for Rob Thompson. It'll be Brogdon to pitch the 9th. Another extra base hit on the first pitch of the game tonight for Kyle Schwarber. Homered on the first pitch last night, doubled on the first pitch tonight.
Can't say this about everybody, but I just see Schwarber being a Philly guy all of a sudden, even though he was the Cubs forever. It's like he could be that guy, that the John Kruk / guy that if he starts hitting, you're gonna love him here.
Philly fans like their tough, hard-working, hard-nosed players, and Schwarber's certainly that. All-state football player in high school, son of a police chief, grew up basically at the police station. The first thing the Phillies love about Kyle is his bat, but not far behind that are those qualities that he picked up at the police station, learning about hard work and teamwork.
I was fortunate enough, my first World Series, of course, was the Cubs and the Indians, and I just still can't get over the fact that he blew out his knee and didn't hit forever. Track pitches in Arizona, was in the batting cages, shows up in the World Series and raked. Like, I don't know what that did to set him back in the future because of what he had to do to come back so quickly, but man, what an unbelievable moment.
Down on strikes here, but the Phillies get a couple big runs. It's 7-2 as we go to the 9th.
Nice throw.
Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
That's beautiful.
Are dedicated to guiding kids through the first tries.
It's all good, Aaron.
The curveballs.
There you go.
And the big dreams. Setting them up to make great plays. On and off the field. Building brighter futures together.
as Baseball Night in America reaches the 9th inning at Citizens Bank Park. 7-2 Phils. 4 of those 7 runs knocked in by Johan Camargo. He's been a quietly important player for the Phillies with the injuries they've dealt with on the infield. Connor Brogdon is on to pitch the 9th inning. Speaking of those middle infield injuries, by the way, Didi Gregorius set to continue his rehab this weekend, and they're going to reevaluate after tomorrow's game in Lehigh. And there's a good chance you'll see Gregorius back in the lineup early on this coming week. Segura, it's going to be a while. He had surgery on his finger on Friday and expected to miss at least 10 weeks. It's a pop-up, and Renjifo is the first out of the 9th. The regular season is underway, and anything can happen. Follow @MLB on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube so you don't miss a thing in 2022. We said it at the start of the game. You kind of expect, and I know it's easy to get caught up with how bad it's been lately, but there are enough good players on this Phillies team, especially as they get guys back. They should be around at least part of the conversation with that extra playoff team. Chopper to short quickly. 2 gone.
And I think they will. And you know, certainly we don't know what the trade deadline and all that stuff down the line. But when you look at, you can self-analyze. I talked about your own, but you also kind of know the teams ahead of you, whether you're better than them or not, whether you need to go do something to get better than them. And we saw that happen again last year with the way that the Mets had controlled the whole division, but the Atlanta Braves felt that they weren't as good or good enough that if they could make some moves and possibly catch them, and they did. Well, this year the Mets are a much different team, so you kind of keep one eye open on the division. But reality is you just want to catch the teams in front of you and put yourself in a good spot to make the playoffs.
Get in the dance. Strike 1 on Velasquez, and the thing does ease up. Right? They've had one of the hardest schedules in baseball so far. They've got a tough series coming up this week in Milwaukee, but then 10 straight against teams with losing records.
And it is weird how the season plays itself out. They had to play the majority of the games, unfortunately, when the Mets were hot. Right? They don't play them till, I think, September again. And you just got to take advantage of the teams when they're not hot and try to battle 500 against the really, really hot teams or good teams.
They tied them up 1-2. And each of the last 3 pennant winners in full season, so you toss 2020 out, below 500 at the 50-game mark.
It's amazing.
Yeah. You just got to find a way to get in, and it's easier than ever to do that with the extra playoff team beginning this year. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Andrew Velasquez. Brogdon fires, and the Phillies win their 3rd straight. 5 in the first, 2 in the 8th, 7-2 the final score, and the Angels' losing streak reaches 10.
Crazy stretch run right now on the Angels. Never thought you'd see that. Never thought you'd see Trout in the position he's in. But a lot of season left, and Joe Madden knows how to handle these kind of situations.
3 hours, 5 minutes for this 7-2 ball game. Zack Wheeler gets his 4th win. 4-0 now over his last 7 starts. Johan Camargo starred the offensive show along with JT Real Muto. Real Muto doubles 3 times. Camargo knocks in 4 of the 7 runs. And Rob Thompson's managing at a Hall of Fame clip. Unbeaten in his career. 10-0 last night, 7-2 here tonight. Coming up next, we get you to studio for post-game coverage. Kevin Burkhardt and the D-Train, Dontrell Willis, right after these messages.